It's been 2 months, Gaijin. You can't keep hiding from the Third Fleet podcast. The people need it. Is that a light at the end of the tunnel? What's that? It's a precious artifact from Monster Hunter Wilds. It's a sign. Everybody, it's a sign. Oh my god. I think it's happening. It's actually happening. Look, Lamont. Gotcha! Let's go. We gotta go. We gotta go, Gaijin. We gotta go. Oh. Oh.
Hey guys, this is Gaijin Hunter. You're listening to the Third Fleet podcast. I know we haven't been around for 2 months or so. This is episode 85. Rurikhan was off playing his Monster Hunter Wilds off in Gamescom, but we needed him back for the podcast, so I have made some emergency calls, threw him in a secret car, brought him back to Portugal so we can have this podcast and discuss all the juicy details of what he got to play. Rurikhan, welcome back.
Gaijin, you got the number wrong. I said 85 was the last podcast. This is 86. It's so good. How you doing, Gaijin? It's been one hell of a trip. I'm going to be gushing about this trip for God knows how long. Got one of my bucket items off the list. It's been absolutely phenomenal.
One? I would say several bucket items.
Yeah, probably. I guess. I mean, the thing is, one of my big bucket items was to get to interview the Monster Hunter team. So, like, that's the big one that I was like, oh, man, this was awesome. It's freaking fantastic doing the trip, being there, actually playing the game. I didn't even use my streamer privilege as I said I would, which I was like, oh, man, I can just skip queue whenever I want. I actually didn't do that because the queues, you have no idea. You're talking like...
Oh, I have an idea. Yeah, like I immediately, right upon opening, it was like...
It was like people were telling me, because I met a lot of fans there, and they were telling me, yeah, I think it's one of the first things that I would ask whenever I'd meet somebody. Oh man, did you get to play? Like, how was it? And people would tell me, yeah, I tried, but I ran here first thing I got to the show, and the line was already 10 hours long. So...
Oh my gosh! It sounds like Tokyo Game Show.
Yeah, the lines...
Does it get that bad usually at Gamescom? Have you been to Gamescom before?
Yeah, I've been to Gamescom plenty of times, and yes, it does get that bad, especially when it's a game like Monster Hunter Wilds, because it's a massive thing. And it kind of feels like it was the game that stole the show. I know that they won 4 awards, which was like Best PlayStation Game.
Wait, there was a show? There was something going on outside Monster Hunter?
Yeah, exactly, right? That's almost what it seemed like. There was so many people there, but yeah.
I mean, there was filler in between the live stages. There was some filler content, but that was just to hold us over for the next day for Monster Hunter.
Yeah, pretty much. That was the whole thing. And it was just so cool to see everybody hanging around, but also, you know, I had never really interacted with the Japanese members of the Capcom team. So seeing the way that they conduct themselves was extremely interesting, because you would see whenever they would have free time, they would just go down to the show floor. Because for people that don't know, there's actually 2 areas that most publishers have when it comes to Gamescom. So there's one area that's like the business area where you have meetings, and sometimes that's also where you go if you're like a creator and you're doing a recording session or an interview or something like that. You would go to the business area. And then there's the public area, which is what most people would see in the stage where they had the live streams and all of that stuff. the developers pretty much spent all of their free time, as far as I could tell, because a lot of times I'd see them in the business area, and whenever they weren't there, they would just go down to the show floor and see if like anybody wanted to take a picture or something like that. They would just like hang around with the rest of the players that were excited to play the game, which is refreshing because, like I said, I've been to a lot of these shows like E3. Well, I say a lot. I've been to several E3s and several Gamescoms. I don't know if I've been to other ones, but basically I've been to several of them, and usually you don't really see that many developers just kind of like mingling in the public area, at least from my experience with both Gamescom and E3. So it was very refreshing to see, like, you'd see Ryozu just casually walking by and people would ask him for pictures and autographs and all these things. And they even bought like special pens that they would have on them in case somebody would ask them to sign an item. Like at one point I saw someone at the booth pull out like the MSI collaboration laptop that had like Monster Hunter stuff on it. And, at the time, I don't think they had pens, but I'm pretty sure that Ryozu was like instructing his interpreters are like, no, we need to get a pen so that I can come sign this person's laptop. And they were super chill about stuff. It was very, very surprising.
Yeah, and you had the full set. It wasn't just like one of them. It was all three of them.
Yeah, they were all like just hanging out there. And this is one of the things that I'm going to be gushing about for like the next 50 videos that I make about Monster Hunter Wilds, is the fact that the first thing that happened to me when I got to Gamescom is, I get together with Jono. We're heading out to the consumer booth to see if I can sneak in some playtime before it actually opens, because it was actually closed. There was an embargo in place. So on Wednesday morning, they would actually not let anybody play because of this like embargo, which ended at like 12:30 or something like that. So they opened up the booth at 12 because the sessions would be like half an hour. And so by the time people would finish their sessions, they could go and talk about it on social media because the embargo was over. And so I was going down there to see if I could sneak some playtime in before, so that I would be aware of what the gameplay is like for my recording session, instead of having to fumble around figuring out controls and whatnot. And as we're headed down there, I see Takuta-san in the distance coming up the stairs. He was going towards the business area, which is where we were coming from. And, I see Takuta-san. I was like, oh, that's Takuta-san. And Jono's just like casually waving at him. And as I'm looking at Takuta-san, I see like in his eyes, like, wait, does he recognize me? Like he was like smiling and I was, Rurikhan Gunlance. I was like, oh man, that's awesome. And so, I asked for a picture, and then he asked Jono to take a picture of the two of us for his phone as well. And I was just like fangirling all the time, just like straight up. It is what it is. But yeah, it was crazy. And then after that interaction happened, we go down to the show floor, and a lady from Capcom, I forget her name, she comes down and she starts asking Jono when my recording slot is. And Jono is asking like, but why? Why do you need to know? And she's like, well, Takuta-san wants to see him play. And I was like, oh, yeah. I basically told him, listen, I will be here whenever Takuta-san wants me to be here. I'll be here at midnight to play if that, like, I don't care, right? You tell Takuta-san
I'll even play longsword if he asks me.
You tell him that, like, I will be at any time, anywhere, whenever he wants to come watch me play. But yeah, he popped in his head for a couple of minutes during my capture session, and he was nodding as I was like doing crazy gun lance shenanigans. It was a blast. Yeah,
I'll tell you, those three don't age. Like, I'm just thinking back to like when I first got into Monster Hunter, and I got to meet a lot of them at like some events here in Japan. They don't look a day older.
Yeah,
like at all. Like it's kind of crazy.
I was actually looking up their age. I couldn't find I was curious about the age of Fujioka. I couldn't find that, but I found Ryozu's age, and I was like, "There's no way this man is like 8 years older than me. This is insane." It's very surprising. Yeah.
Yeah, I was hanging out in the Twitch chat. I heard the YouTube was kind of cringy, the way that YouTube gets flooded with stuff, but the Twitch chat was really nice, and I was watching the streams with people on most of the days, and Yeah,
Yeah,
I was saying there, and some people weren't aware, but I just love Tokuda-san's story of like how he came to Monster Hunter. I think it's just the greatest ever. I'll repeat it here if you want.
yeah,
I
yeah.
imagine
Go
you know
ahead,
it.
go ahead.
Yeah, it's fun
I think
because
we
like
talked about it, but yeah, go ahead and say it again.
yeah, like a bridge version. Like he went and saw Monster Hunter for the first time at Tokyo Game Show when the game was still in development, the very first game, and the team had barely scrapped together like a Rathalos fight, and it was like really like spaghetti code at that point. But like he loved the concept, and it talked to him, and he's like, "Oh my god!" And the first thing in his head was, "I know how I would make this even better." And it's not that it wasn't good. It's just dude loves reptiles, right? He's like me. Has lots of lizards. Loves the idea of the realism and making them feel like they're living and breathing. And he went ahead and found his way into Capcom, worked his way up from the bottom into by third generation. He was in charge of adding in the stamina system for monsters. So all those redesigns that made monsters get exhausted because they never used to. I don't know if people don't know that, but before third generation, like that stamina system didn't exist for monsters.
So they
He
would just
redesigned
like keep attacking nonstop.
yeah, and then he redesigned a lot of their feet, the wings, and stuff like for Rathalos, trying to make him look a little bit more realistic. And then even for second gen, like he was involved in a lot of like Nargacuga, like all those monster designs. And then by the time World came, that was his baby. He got to direct his own Monster Hunter, and lo and behold, his whole thing was to have a living and breathing world. Then they had a guest director usually for the expansion, so they had a guest director for Iceborne. Obviously, the portable team, Ichinose took over and did Rise, and for the last, God, I don't know, 5-6 years, he's been working on the Wilds, if not longer. And now
Yeah.
they're taking that whole living, breathing concept and just amping it up. I'm like, this is his vision. Like, it's just crazy that he goes to a show, geeks out, and that becomes his like motivation to like join the company and influence the brand for obviously the better. Like
And
it's just with him at the helm, I don't care. I might have my doubts about certain things, but or little like minute game mechanics, but as far as the actual like integrity of the brand, this is Monster Hunter, man. Like
it's really interesting to connect that story with something that happened on Thursday morning, because like Thursday morning I'm going there super early because I would always wake up super early to go to the show floor and whatnot. And I was just, let me see what the Monster Hunter booth is looking like. This was very, very early, so the lights weren't even on in the booth yet. There was already a massive queue like wrapping around the whole show floor. And who do I find just randomly standing there, just looking at everything? It's Takuda-san. Most people don't even know who he is, so they don't even recognize him. And I see Takuda-san there, and I was like, big line, because obviously he didn't have a translator with him, so he can't communicate much because they don't really speak that much English. But I was like, big line, and he had like the biggest smile. He was so happy that all these people came down to play his game. You could just tell by the look on his face. And then he goes and he tells me, I saw your live stream yesterday. And I was like, God damn it, this guy. What the hell, dude? I can't believe it. It's he's just like a super chill dude, which is, super humble, down to earth. Just, it was very surprising is all, because sometimes
yeah,
developers don't turn out to be like that. Not saying that,
yeah, but you
developers
can
are
tell
evil or
like
anything,
also like he's done a good job of navigating the series where he's never had to get into the bureaucracy layer. And I think Udozo is like the perfect layer for that, because you can
Yeah.
tell the dude is passionate as hell and really cares about Monster Hunter, but he also can handle that executive stuff as well at the same time, which is crazy. For Fujioka, they kind of just found a way for him to be the creative director behind everything and just let him make sure that the series vision is going in the right direction. And then Tokuda-san is just gets to remain the creative, the force that drives all the leads and makes the game. And it shows, man. Like they just love what they're doing, and
The level of
it's
passion that you get to see in those dev live streams, like, it is also absolutely insane. And it takes, I feel, a lot of courage for them to do what they did in those dev live streams, which is you have this demo that a lot of people like, oh, release the demo for everyone. People don't understand that this is not the most stable version of the game. This
Yeah.
is likely an
Well, look at the
extremely,
timeline, right?
yeah.
Like they did a pre-recorded version of this hunt, of this demo for Japan, and then they had a secret hands-on sort of curated session. Like this was what, at E3 or something? It was like months ago, right?
It was, yeah, E3 doesn't exist. Now we call it
Yeah.
Key 3 because it's Jeff Keighley's.
Oh, yeah.
It's Summer
Jeff
Game
Keighley's
Fest.
show.
It's Summer Game Fest.
Summer Game Fest, and now they get to a point where they're like, okay, we could put this on a show floor for the first time, and we could do a live demo on stage, which, like you said, takes a lot of
Yeah, and it's
a lot of
and the other thing is, I've seen a lot of people criticize, like, the frame rate and stuff, and I'm going to be talking about that because it should be fairly obvious that considering how long they've been developing the game for, this build is exceedingly early into into development because of the fact that, like, you can't just, oh, let me just chop off a bit of the game and just put that out there. You have to prepare things and only limit the amount of things that are on the build in case anything leaks. You want to make sure that no other monster is known and all of this stuff. So this essentially becomes a different path of the game that I'm going to make a video talking specifically about that to explain a little bit more how this type of stuff works. But I just thought it was brave of them to play the thing live in a multiplayer setting, because one of the biggest problems that they were having to build, from what I could tell, was the multiplayer portion. So the network infrastructure on the show floor was maybe not the best, because I definitely noticed that the multiplayer version was running a little bit worse than the regular one, which is likely why my capture session ended up being single player, because I believe that was meant to be a multiplayer capture session as well.
yeah.
So yeah,
It was super impressive, and I think the general vibe I'm getting from what they said versus the condition of the demo was that it seems like they're confident the core loop's there. They've got it. They're power developing through the rest of the game. They mentioned that they're looking forward to getting the hands-on demo for other regions as well. So I imagine they're going to have hands-on demo during Tokyo Game Show, which is later next month in September. I could very much see them then at that point. I don't know when Paris Games Week is.
I think it's October, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't looked up
that
Paris
might be a
Games
possibility.
Week yet. Yeah.
And then I could see them doing what they did with World, which is like, let's do a demo one, like late November, early December, maybe. Like, it seems in the realm of possibility.
I don't know.
Just because it shows so well. And I think, like, even I was quite skeptical about certain things in the first one or two trailers, and then it was, or the first trailer, then it was the second trailer, and then just really getting the input from people who got to see the game in motion and hear more about it, that really finally got me to realize that I had something slightly different in my head going on and get excited. And then seeing this now all in context,
what were like
and
your
with various
your fears
levels of just
on that initial trailer?
The biggest fear, if I'm looking back, was probably the herd monsters. I think it's a fun little thing, just like Rampage. I actually was a big fan of Rampage. I think it's fun, it's interesting, but it's not like, that is low on my list of things that I want to do in the game. Where for a lot of people, maybe it's really high. But I'm like, wow, is the focus now going to be mostly around handling multiple monsters at once and having to separate them? I'm like, I don't like that. I very famously, in my own head at least, avoided the Monster Hunter quest in Monster Hunter 4U for like a year because you had to do like 3 monsters in that one area. I really suck at handling 2 monsters at once. I don't know if it's my ADD or what, but I like the intimate combat, right? So when they started showing off and focusing so heavily on the herds, all the monsters, I'm like, I don't really care. It looks cool, but that's not what I'm here for. And but then and then the focus mode was confusing at first because the way they sold it, I still think they're messaging it wrong. But now that we have like a lot of footage, we we can take our own ways of interpreting it, like how we want to internalize it. I think it's freaking amazing.
You know the best thing about focus mode? It works exactly like I said. Exactly like I said. The very first time I talked about focus mode, my theory was 100% correct. It was like, yep.
Yeah, I think they need to work a little bit on their early messaging, but I think the product speaks for itself. But like, yeah, so it was like the herd battles, and I do not like the design of Dosh. I think he's ugly as hell. However, I think he's perfect for the starting monster of the game. Like, I think he's a good tutorial monster. He's a great tutorial monster for herds, because the way he interacts with his buddies, I think, was really cool.
I don't think he's going to be the first monster of the game. If I had to hypothesize, I'd say it's Chatakabra. Chatakabra is way easier to fight than Doshiguma.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but they're in, like, like the starting set of monsters, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Maybe Chatakabra is like the Great Jagras, and Balahara is like the Puke, and maybe like he's like maybe not quite the Antonath, but like slightly step up. But as like an intro trio, I think they're great. And I think they focus a lot on the herd stuff, which is fine. But hearing then from like all the interviews that they said, like each locale, it wouldn't just be one huge one. That each locale, which are going to be their own little like open worlds, right, will have roughly 2 very specific herd monsters, and those herds will interact.
Yeah.
And hearing and knowing that, okay, this is just a flavor of something that goes on in this world at all times, but is not necessarily the focus. That was my initial fear. And then the way they talked about focus mode, right? They came out first saying, "Oh, this is for people who suck at action games."
That was very strange messaging.
Yeah, you trade your mobility for the ability to do precision attacks, and everything glows, but you don't have to use it ever. All the moves that you can do here are still available if you're not in focus mode. I still don't think mode was the right word for it.
It's not a mode. Essentially, what
it's a stance, right?
It's not even a stance. It's almost like detective vision in a way, just so that you can see whether or not there's wounds in the monster. Which, by the way, there are visible markings every time there's a wound, so you don't have to use focus mode. However, focus mode also lets you trigger certain things like the focus strike that you do need to go into. But it's not like, oh, let me go into focus mode and it's this big lengthy animation. Yeah. No, it's like you can hit the monster a bunch of times.
You're toggling. It's
and
like
if you see a wound
with your reticle, right?
Yeah, and if you see a wound, you don't even have to go into focus mode per se. You just kind of like tap the 2 buttons and you can do your focus strike. Boom. So you are not forced to go into focus mode. Having said that,
it's not really a mode, right? It's a focus button,
it's just,
right? It's just so when you hold it,
it's just a targeting reticule.
Your attacks, right?
No, it doesn't even change your attacks. You get the exact same attacks. It just lets you do your focus strike. It doesn't change your attacks. Which is simple,
right? It's just hold L2 and press R1, right?
Yeah. What it is for is it lets you basically strafe around the monster if you want to do that. So like if you hold L2, you'll be facing where the camera is facing, and you can just like move sideways if you want to. So every weapon can kind of strafe, even though if you look at the sword and shield thing, that's different because that's straight up. You can just like be pressing left and he slightly strafes left and all of that stuff. But focus mode is just a thing where I need to see real quick if there's wounds on the monster, and you press that and it will glow red if there's a wound.
Yeah, just.
But you don't have to use it, because another way of seeing is, you know how we used to tenderize back in World? Whenever there's a wound, if you hit it, it will show up with the 4 triangles that are indenting, indicating, oh, you're hitting a soft spot or something. So you already know there's a wound there. I can see it just by hitting the monster in that spot. And at that point, you can deploy your focus strike. And apparently several weapons might even have more than 1 focus strike. Like I know that the sword and shield at least has 2 focus strikes. On the gun lance, I've only seen 1 so far. I don't know if there's more because, we have limited time to play, and I didn't want it to abuse my streamer privilege to steal time from people that were waiting there for 10 hours. It's like, oh yeah, let me just, John over there that came all the way from Hamburg or something has been here sitting for 10 hours. Maybe he won't get to play, but I get another 30 minutes in. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Not to mention
Yeah, but
it's
I mean, I think those are the main areas where I was like not sold on the concept initially. Was just and
yeah,
also just not being able to see it in motion like gameplay. Like you don't get. It was so high contrast that it was really hard to tell if it was visually going to be closer to something like Iceborne or something like Rise or something in between. And I think now seeing everything in motion, it's very clear. This feels like a true bona fide, like the next generation sequel from Iceborne, right? World Iceborne. This is
a
like a
hundred
step up.
percent. Yeah, and even
So
just the pacing of the game feels much more like World than say Rise or Sunbreak. That's kind of like that slower pacing that we had in World. That's pretty much what you're getting with what I've experienced with the demo, which felt
yeah, but I love
really
it.
good.
Like the everything that seemed like it could have been like a larger gimmicky thing, like going into a focus mode, and it's not really a mode. It's just a button that you press to do some cool stuff, and every weapon you do it and whatever.
Yeah.
And then like the what's the word they're using? The power clashes and the offset attacks. Like that's just baked into the game. Like that's just
Yep.
a thing, and that's freaking awesome. But when they show it, of course they're gonna exaggerate it, right? So you're like, wait, like you got the hunters in the back, but then you got the focus here. Like what's going on? It's like no. It's every weapon can do. Well, not every weapon can do a power
No,
clash
no,
because you
no.
have to be able to guard.
It's only guarding weapons that can do a power
Yeah,
clash.
but
So
the offset attacks are harder to time out, but they do more damage.
yeah, I don't know how the offset attacks work because I didn't really get any of
Oh,
those
I
off.
watched a lot of videos on those,
Yeah, I
and it
saw.
looks like the switch axe. They have a move where you do like the upward axe chop, but the thing is you gotta hit it. You can't do it like a parry. Like you're not doing it at the same time right before you get hit. It's actually you have to start a little bit more early.
Yeah,
And
I
so when the
saw.
axe is going up in the air, it'll offset and just knock them on their ass, and it does quite a bit more damage than a power clash. But a power clash also gets you a guaranteed stagger, and you got everyone wailing on it. So it's like both look amazing, and they're not exclusive to focus mode or anything. It's just
Nope.
it's yeah. I mean everything just is. It feels so natural and baked in. I love it.
I actually saw Paradise do that, the power clash with the switch axe. He did it on the stream that I was in with them, and it is very impressive. You're just like, bam, monster goes reeling back. It's really, really cool. And it's very visceral. Pretty much everything in there feels very visceral. The weapons that I focused on the
It's
most was Charge Blade and Gun Lance. Well, mostly Gun Lance, obviously. But both of those weapons just feel pretty much like they would feel in World in their base moveset, but then they change stuff. So like SAD is different now. I'm not even exactly sure if you can get like a full files SAD because you're supposed to do a couple of moves before you actually land it. But I might just not know all of the inputs yet, so don't read too much into it because a lot of the stuff has changed. Like the Gunlance used to have a move that would be full burst into Wormstake. Can't do that anymore. That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah, so one of the things I want to get your opinion on, I think we'll probably have to walk through the weapons probably in order to get a full breadth of it, but like the changes, at least for the weapons I know that I main, and I've been looking at a lot of videos for, it seems like the changes on the surface may seem like, oh, it's got one or two new attacks, but it's more than that, right? It seems like they're really more than they ever have done on the numbered titles. I think they're going in and really fudging with the core loop of attacks and combos, and I feel that the weapon identity is probably going to be better than it's been in a long time.
I mean, I can tell
So
you for the gun lance, that is definitely the case because you always have that situation where it's, oh, should I build slap lance? Should I build, shelling lance? Because you were always able to kind of separate it to a point where you didn't need it to do it. And with the combos that we have right now, again, this is super early on, so I don't want to say too much. But
yeah,
with the combos that we have right now, it definitely feels like shelling is going to be almost mandatory. Because to give you an idea, right? We used to have the full burst combo that you can infinitely repeat. You still have that. But now there's like a follow-up thing that you can do that doesn't include full burst, where it'd be like if you press triangle 3 times, you're going to end up with this sweeping attack, which is kind of like the last sweep that you would do after the full burst. So you just press triangle 3 times, do the sweep, and after that, if you press triangle circle, he's going to do what they call, I think, a full worm stake burst or a full worm stake blast. I forget what the exact name of it is, but it's basically that diagonal thing that goes like brrrr. And then immediately after that, he goes and he sticks the worm stake in. And then if you keep pressing triangle, he does a really strange looking reload, and then immediately after that, he does it again, but downwards. Brrrr, and then he sticks the worm stake again. And then, which this is something that I didn't even realize before I did my capture session, but after that, I was with Cowslayer, so I got to see him play. And he was paying much more attention to like the combo thing that my brain usually switches off.
Yeah.
So after you do this combo that I just told you, you can go straight into a double Wyvern Fire that is actually faster than doing the Wyvern Fire normally. And I was like, what?
Yeah,
and apparently
like...
the second Wyvern Fire in there even might have hyper armor, but I'm not 100% sure on that one yet. So
that's the thing, like looking through all the footage, staring at the upper right, you realize that they've added in a lot of new combo paths and nested combos, and all the weapons seem to have like one combo or two that one you can cancel out of as you need to, but like all have this like large ass combo that if you can set yourself up with the stagger, because the weak points are such a big deal in this game, create a weak spot, hit a stagger. If you're positioned right, they let you go all the way, and like there's a huge combo with a huge like payoff like for almost all the weapons that I've seen.
Yeah,
it looks so good.
The thing is, I'm not sure if I would read too much into the whole animation canceling. Like I've heard all about the people talking about how you can roll out of Helm Splitter. I'm not 100% sure if that's I'm not 100% sure if that's
I've seen
intended.
it in a lot of videos.
Yeah. The reason I'm not sure if that's intended is because, for instance, with the gun lance, one of the things that I noticed is that you know how we have that long reload animation where he actually just like folds the lance, reloads, puts it back up. That's just a normal reload. You can cancel out of it midway with a guard. And I was just like, this doesn't seem intentional because it literally just breaks the animation. Like the gun lance is doing this, it's folded, and suddenly it's like you're guarding. And I was like, I don't know if we want to take this as like, this is 100% in the game. Like it might be. But it feels kind of weird right now is all I'm saying. I haven't seen too much of
like evade canceling I've seen on almost all the weapons. Like in the middle of something, you're able to evade cancel out of it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's intentional or not. I've heard also from the people that were playing dual blades that apparently blade dance is no longer just like one big long animation. It's actually something
it's
more
steps.
like
3 steps now.
Yeah, and it's not only several steps, but apparently they have a timing aspect to them, kind of like Perfect Rush.
Perfect Rush.
Again, I want to make sure this is something that I was told by people that play the weapon. I didn't get to play the weapon, but this is what people were telling me. So I was like, yep, that sounds good, because I actually do like Perfect Rush. I feel like Perfect Rush is an ability that they can afford to really deal a lot of damage because it takes practice for you to get that timing right. And if they do that to Blade Dance, I feel like then they can afford to also make Blade Dance deal a ton of damage. So that's cool.
Oh yeah. But
I also played a little bit of Lance, but I had no idea what I was doing. I'll be real. That is gonna be in my gameplay video. I might have released that by the time this goes live or not. I'm not 100% sure. I'm still like overwhelmed in content that I want to do. But
there's too much to digest. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But the UI on everything is so nice. They've really redone a lot of almost everything. I want to get your take on this one because I've seen a lot of people divided, which is the health bar. During the original preview for influencers in Summer Game Fest, a lot of people in Japan were saying they assumed that it was reflecting the environment. They're like, oh, it's in a hot environment, so it looks kind of like wavy, like it's really hot. But I don't think that's what it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah, because you could see like it's kind of like a wavy thing, and then it has like these little like tells, right, to help communicate micro information to you, like, hey, big attack coming that could do a lot of damage, like get the hell out of the way. A lot of people were like, hey, I wonder if you can like change that or like revert it. I'm sure you can. I didn't see the options yet, so I don't know, but
I'm not sure if you can do it at this point. My feedback to the team when I first saw it was I was like, listen, as with all things, I would give players the option to turn that off if at all possible.
Yeah, because it could be distracting for some people. Yeah,
because like in my case, one of the things that I noticed when I first started playing the game is that as your health gets lower, I started getting confused because if there's a big attack coming, your health starts flashing red. But you know that when you get hit, your health is also red because that's still like recoverable through regen and whatnot.
yeah.
And so there were times that I was like, wait, am I almost dead, or is that just a big attack coming? I don't. It was kind of like a little bit distracting at a glance, but I feel like it's one of those things where I will probably get used to it after I've played a couple of hours. But in the beginning, yeah, it can be a little bit overwhelming. It's the squiggly lines of hit points. A lot of people complained about that. But yeah, when it starts going all crazy, that just means there's a big attack coming. So if you go up to Ray Dow and he starts charging up his lightning gun, he puts his little thing.
Yeah. For me, man, the Palico was all I need. Oh my God, watch out!
The Palico speaking
is so good.
I like the Palico speaking. I know that a lot of people don't like it, but at least for that, we already have confirmation that is.
Yeah, you can choose it.
You can just turn that off if you want, so that's fine.
But considering the amount of options I've seen in the videos so far, I can't see it not being in there. Like, I don't know if you noticed it, but like there was options for like when you call the NPC support players, if you just want to do that, either for storytelling or you just don't want to go online or whatever.
Yeah.
They have options in there to say, okay, I don't want them mounting the monster. I don't want them using a power clash. I don't want them doing offset attacks. I don't even want to see their secrets or whatever, like on the map. I just want to see mine. You can change all that stuff. Like, it's all in the options for display or not. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty
because
cool.
Like maybe you want to be like, you've got a plan, right? You don't mind the backup, but it's like, let me do the power clashes, let me do the mounting, and the fact that you can control that is pretty wild. And there was one thing in the V-Jump media footage that I saw, which was exciting, which is a pause button.
I don't really care.
It has a pause. It has a pause button. So I think when you're in single player, or if you're using, support NPCs, you can pause the game. People care about that stuff. I care about this. I think that's pretty good.
I think that's fine if that's what they want to do. It didn't bother me that I don't remember if World and Iceborne had it or not, but I know that, for instance, GU had it. You could also pause in GU, I'm pretty sure.
I don't
know about Rise Break. Rise Break, no, but there was actually an option in the menu to pause, is what I'm saying, in GU. I don't remember if that was one in Rise Break, but if you were playing on Switch, you could just tap the home button and there you go.
I believe
paused.
There may have been. I think it's World and Iceborne that you couldn't.
Okay, that might have been. But the thing is, World and Iceborne also had like the 16-player lobbies and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But again,
you're generally going to be online, so I imagine that wouldn't be available. But
yeah, but it's like if you're playing solo, then I guess that's fine. That's not a problem. So yeah, I didn't know about the pause button either. That's pretty much news to me. But
before we jump into like your time at Gamescom and I've got tons of questions, and I want to hear about your time with each of the three monsters. Do you want to talk about the trailer, or do you want to do that afterward?
I mean, we can talk about the trailer because that happened before I even went to Gamescom. That was the whole thing about me rushing to the hotel with my friend Chris hosting the live stream and whatnot. People were like, who's this guy? And some people are even saying we got Rurikhan from Wish, that's kind of mean. Okay, don't treat my friend Chris like that. That's messed up. You could have had Chris, or you could have had nothing. All right, but no, he did a fantastic job, and I was able to get there in time to react to the trailer, and the trailer was awesome. We got to see you call them temnocerons, right? I think that's what they're called, the spiders. I'm pretty sure it's temnocerons. Because I always get those confused.
It's some word I can't pronounce.
Neopterons, but Neopterons is more like Celtis Queen and stuff like that.
Yeah, the insects and stuff.
Yeah, so I was super excited about La Labarina because of the fact that
what a monster.
It reminds me more of whatchamacallit, Nursilla. It reminds me more of Nursilla than Rachna
But
Kadaki.
better in every way.
Yeah, like you see her actually. I hope that she can web sling like Nursilla did, because that was just such an iconic thing. Also, I was like, bro, she web slings like Spider-Man. That's amazing. So this one kind of like sticks to the top of like the Scarlet Forest or whatever it's called, and starts spinning around, throws paralytic hair at you. She
is the blade of Mikola.
There it is.
I am la Balenina, the blade of Mikola.
Blade of Mikola, and I've never known defeat.
Yep. Scarlet rot in your face, get paralyzed. Haha.
That's what people are wondering. Like, is she red because of the water, or is the water red because of La Barina? What do you think?
I haven't a clue. I haven't even thought about that.
I suspect that she's red because she drinks the water. She's got a butt in the shape of a rose for some reason.
Yes.
Which is pretty
Shake
cool.
it, man. Shake that butt. Like,
she's got like that.
Well, now we know where the really pretty dress comes from.
Yeah,
Man,
exactly.
I love that outfit. Holy shit.
That outfit does look
profanity.
Really good. There you go. See, I'm trying to avoid it.
I like it so much. Profanity.
Profanity just comes out. But yeah, the outfit looks great. Go ahead.
Explain again about the name, because I noticed this time in at least the trend so far has been not to localize the names. The names in both English and Japanese are very similar, if not identical, which I find interesting.
Really?
But for this one, there is a slight difference. But
wait, let's go.
Lala.
Wait. Before we go there, let's go through all of the monsters then. Do you have the Japanese versions of all of the monsters, or am I putting you on the spot? I'm putting you on the spot.
But I can bring it up.
I mean, but you know at least Doshaguma,
internet.
I would imagine. Isn't that like just the same? Doshaguma, I would imagine. No?
I'm not going to put myself in a position to sound like a fool. Okay. I'm already a fool, so it's like, yeah, it's a Doshaguma.
So it's the exact same name for Doshaguma.
Yeah.
Okay, so
and I don't know if it has any meaning in any other language, but Guma comes from Kuma, which means bear, which is what he looks like. I don't know what Dosha would be, but Doshaguma.
Dosha is probably like demon because he's got a demon face or something.
He's a ugly ass dog. That's what he is.
Well, come on. He's such a nice looking guy. Wait until they make a plushie out of him. You're going to love it.
I don't even want to invade.
You're going to listen.
Sensation him. No.
You are going to buy 2 plushies. It's one for the alpha and one for the regular version of Doshaguma.
No way.
You are 100% doing it. Doshaguma. Nope. Yeah.
Doshaguma. Then we got Barahara.
So that is with an R? Barahara?
Yeah, well, I mean, R's and L's in Japan, there's no difference. So, Barahara.
Yeah.
But more of an R, I would say, but who knows?
In English, that would be the Balahara. Balahara also has a more Spanish-sounding name, in my opinion. Yeah. Balahara. It just kind of like rolls off the tongue.
Yeah, I don't know what it means, but I like the sound of it, because it's like a roly-poly, right? It twists and turns, and it's like Barahara. It sort of rolls off the tongue like that. I like it.
Didn't its armor remind you a little bit of Steve?
I don't know if I've seen the armor.
It's the Lance armor. It's shown in the Lance trailer. It was chock full of scales. Okay, it's all good. But
I got too much information going through my head.
Doshaguma, Barahara, and Balahara. Chatakabra. Is that the same in Japanese?
So Chatakabra, and just for reference, Tetsukabra. Kabara is kind of what they're using for like the amphibious frogs.
So you know what cabra means both in Portuguese and Spanish?
What does it mean?
Goat. It does. Cabra means goat.
I love it. Now I like the monster more because you've told me that.
And chata means it's the female version of someone who is annoying. So like we have distinct male and female versions if you are being annoying.
Wow, so you got like what do you call it, the nagging goat?
Yeah, if you're a dude being annoying, you're chato. If you're a lady being annoying, you're chata. So basically it's like female annoying goat. That's Chatakabra.
I love it. That's great. And then we have Reidao, Deidao.
So it's the same thing in Japanese as well, Reidao. So all the names are pretty much the same. That is really
the
cool.
only difference that I'm noticing so far is the spider.
Okay.
Which you told me is...
Lala Barina. Lala Barina. Yes, it's Lala.
Yeah, and here it's...
By the way, I just want to point out, guys, that today
like
our
Final
lag...
Fantasy 14 Lala?
Wait, today our lag is just like even worse than usual. So if we see us talk over each other, just please understand. We're not trying to interrupt each other. It's just we're having even more lag than usual for some reason.
I'm watching you on the video call, and like your audio and your lips do not match.
Same.
So I can't even get the visual clue.
It's so hard. I don't know.
It is what it is.
Maybe the Japanese server is not working very well today. I don't know, but yeah,
it's too hot out here. That's why.
Anyway,
okay,
so the name is La.
I'm gonna call her, even though we don't know. I'm just going to infer it's a her because the outfit is so feminine.
Yeah.
And the roses and all that. And yes, are you assuming her gender? Yes, it's a spider. It's a monster. But it's La Bada Barina.
La Bada Barina. Okay.
Which is funny because Bada means rose in Japanese, and Barina sounds like it comes from like the ballerina.
Yep.
So it sounds like the rosy ballerina. So I wonder if Lala, I don't know, maybe because everyone knows Lala from Final Fantasy 14. Maybe they said, okay, we can't call it the Lala Barina.
It's just the thing is, La is almost like it's the female version of the in Spanish. So if you were to say the ballerina, it would be la ballerina. La ballerina. I think it's ballerina. Yeah, but basically the whole idea is like a variation of the name of the ballerina name in Spanish. That's at least what I get from it, which kind of like makes sense.
I've got a really random ass Spanish question for
you. Wait.
Okay,
before we even, one of the things that Cow Slayer pointed out, and Cow Slayer, for those who don't know, he is Spanish. He pointed out that like the dress that you get from her armor, because it's the Charge Blade set that we've seen in the weapon previews, is very much inspired by Spanish ballerinas.
Ooh. It's my favorite armor so far. Yeah, it
looks pretty cool. Yeah, but go ahead. You were saying?
No, I was gonna say a really stupidly random question because I've wondered since I was in, oh god, I don't know, middle school, high school, probably middle school. I never knew what it meant, and I never thought to Google it. But now that I've got you here, do you know the guitarist Steve Vai?
No.
Okay, well, my brother listened to Steve Vai. I like Steve Vai. He's interesting, and he has a song at the very beginning. They say, I'm going to butcher this, but they say something like "La ballerina si chiama Bella Russa," and I'm like, what the hell does that mean?
La ballerina si chiama Bella Russa. I mean,
si chiama Bella Russa.
I don't know what si chiama means. You're probably like misremembering that specific word. Bella means beautiful. Russa. Are you sure it's Russa, not Rosa? Rosa would be red.
It could be either.
So something about a red ballerina, but if it's Russa, it would be Russian ballerina.
Okay, I tried. I was just remembering it randomly. You say La Ballerina, I'm like, oh, it's like that Steve Vai song. So any Steve Vai fans, respect up in the chat or the comments of this podcast if you're watching on YouTube.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But yeah, I like that. I also really like the hammer design, which is also the hammer that Ryozu was using during the dev streams. I thought that hammer looked really cool on Olivia. And yeah, we also were talking just before the podcast how the other character that shows up is probably Olivia's handler.
Yes, so I thought that was interesting because you're in this beautiful forest. They get there. You got someone who's observing stuff like Alma would, right? And, we haven't seen the character. She's got a pretty emo, almost FF looking type of face.
Relax. I swapped this over to Hong Kong to see if those servers are working better than the Japanese ones. Keep going.
Okay. No, and she got like super long eyelashes, and I like her voice a lot. And then all of a sudden they cut to another scene, and it's Olivia. I'm like, that's not Olivia. I was like, I think it's her handler, which would be pretty awesome because being able to interact with other hunters and their handlers, and we get to see her palico as well.
Yeah,
like, that's pretty cool.
Whenever you mention that is when I also noticed that the voice when the hunter starts hunting Ray Dow in that trailer, the voice that shows up is not the voice of Alma. I've never really paid too much attention to it, but it's somebody else, and it could potentially be Olivia's handler, who is temporarily assigned to us for whatever story reason that happens to be the case.
I'm just gonna jump to a side here because I have to mention it because
Go
I'm
for
curious
it.
if you liked it as well. But this idea of moving around as a team, one of the major complaints I think a lot of people had about the handler in World was that it's like sitting in the back of the car taking all the credit. Like, good job, Pard. We gotta do this. It's like, what do you mean we? All you're doing is you're screaming at me through the mic on my controller, and you occasionally come to take the glory. But now, like, the team's with you. Like, they're in all these scenes. When you kill a monster, Alma was there, like right there, and she's like studying. She's like, "Oh, don't you almost forgot to carve the tail." Like, she'll like give you advice. Like, she's there with you, and I think that's
I've
super
seen
cool.
her. I've seen her in the background often while I'm fighting. She's like on her own sacred. She'll be like just at a safe distance while we're engaging. And if you cook, like if you bring out the BBQ and you start cooking, she'll straight up like sit next to you and maybe give you a little bit of tidbit about the hunt or something like that while you're setting up. It's actually pretty cool. It's very, very immersive, and I really appreciate that. Yeah, I like the fact that the handler's around. I'm assuming since you said that like all of that sacred stuff we can customize for multiplayer, that potentially that's something we can customize for people like, I don't want Alma near me. Those strange people. I'm not sure why they would want. I'm joking. People like to take everything I say too literally nowadays. But
what if she asks you, how do you like your latte? 1 or 2 shots of espresso?
I say,
just joking. I'm just joking because people look at her, and I can see where they're getting it, but her outfit looks.
She looks like a barista.
What's the word? Contemporary, modern, almost.
A barista.
Like, it's very fashionable, right? It's close to our type of fashion. It's like the type of.
Yeah.
I cannot unsee that character being Shelby from Girlfriend Reviews. That's all I can see now, because there's a resemblance there in the face that's just unmistakable. And so I think it's kind of hilarious. I'll just call her Shelby instead of Alba. But yeah, her clothing. But hey, we get to have Gemma with us as well throughout the cutscenes. I'm happy about that. That girl's got tone abs.
Oh
it's
yeah,
good.
She's a badass. She's our resident blacksmith now. But yeah, the whole stuff that is happening, even with the Palico, like the Palico will also say things like while you're, and again, this is something that people can turn off if they don't want, but like while you're in Sacred, for instance, if you're just like running around, the Palico will say like, this must be what the wind feels like. Like he's just like having a good time. Or maybe you get off the Sacred and he's still sitting on it for a little while. Then he hops off and goes like, I think I'll hop off now. Like it'll just give you little communications, but it'll also inform you of like things that are important in the middle of the hunt. So, both him and Alma, it does feel like you have more of a team. And not just that, but in the trailer,
and there's going to be 2 different voices they confirmed as well for the Palico. They said there was only one in the floor demo that they had at Gamescom, but they said that there are actually different Palico voices you can choose from.
I'm assuming there'll be different hunter voices as well, because that makes sense.
Yeah. They said they'll have that as well. Yeah.
I was very happy that our hunter finally speaks instead of just being like, huh. No, I appreciate the fact that our hunter speaks. I know that it's not to everybody's liking. Some people like the whole silent protagonist thing.
Yeah. Well, they did clarify that the speaking is not for them to be speaking in cutscenes. That's not going to happen. The idea is that what? Let me finish. What I mean is, like, they're not going to get up there and do speeches and shit like that. Like they said, the idea is that the hunter, when addressed or in a situation where you would naturally expect them to say something, they'll finally be able to say something. But it's not like they're writing the story so like the hunter's like, hey guys, we got to go over here and do this.
No. I want the Commander Shepard speech before the final hunt. Okay, I want to go in there, address the guild, and say, "We've got this. Let's go." That type of stuff,
my hunter will be like, "But this is blue." I don't know if you know that one.
No, I don't. I have no idea.
Was it Mass Effect? I think it's Mass Effect 2. There's a bar you can go to, and the bartender, you say, "Hey, give me your strongest you got." And there's a whole routine of like the bartender of like 10 different variations of like, okay, here's this, that. He's like giving you all this like alien explanations. And then he gives you this one drinks, and the shepherd goes, "This is blue." And you just keep downing it, and you get really drunk, and you end up passing out in the toilet stalls. It's kind of funny, but
oh my god. So earlier you were saying that the YouTube chat got a little bit rowdy.
that's what I've heard. I didn't look
Yeah.
at it, but I was on Twitch chat, and everyone says, "I'm coming here from YouTube because I don't know what the hell's going on, but this place
Yeah.
is nice." And
People-
Twitch was really nice. People were great, and the conversations were interesting, and there was just
My
general excitement.
understanding my understanding was that there was apparently too many people on the YouTube chat to be able to monitor
anything?
appropriately. Yeah, so the team focused their very limited efforts in moderating one of the chats, and they chose Twitch because apparently that was easier. Also because of the fact that you know how you have those auto moderation tools and stuff. It seems like
Yeah.
maybe the Twitch ones were a little bit more robust because people were getting around the YouTube filters and stuff like that and saying all kinds of, people can imagine what people
Yeah,
are saying when there's like a big, large
Yeah, I didn't
gathering.
realize I had mod power on the official Capcom Monster Hunter channel. I was like, oh, I'm a mod. I did not even know that. But I didn't have to moderate like anything because everyone was really well behaved, or the filters were really good, and it was a wholesome time. I had a lot of fun in the chat.
I did hear about the situation on the YouTube channel, which is I think why they decided to remove. They just like blocked chat for the following streams after the first one. But the thing is, do you know what actually caused it? At least from my understanding, it made me a little bit sad. Apparently, this was a reaction to the armor sets no longer being gender locked.
Oh, hey, people these days, they don't care the context. They don't know the conversation. You say the word gender, it could be in any context, and all of a sudden you've got like, you swear to God, they're robots. Half of them aren't. But like people just go, oh my God.
It's like here's the thing. There is definitely a problem in certain games where I do feel that there are certain publishers that are resorting to blatant tokenism of characters, which I also think happens to be disrespectful. But when it comes to the case of removing gender-locked armors, this is something that pretty much ever since, I became known for being a Monster Hunter creator, I have seen this in my comment section over and over and over. It's usually female players that are like, oh, I wish I didn't have to wear skimpy armor. I want to wear...
Some of the male armors are really cool looking.
Yeah. That is usually the case that I get, but you'll also find male players like, oh, I wish I could wear that specific helmet, or it's not even about what people think that it is. It's a lot of people just assumed, oh, it's cross-dressing. That's all it is.
We're just saying gender because that's
exactly
literally how the game system splits it up.
Yeah, but fundamentally, the armor just looks
different design
different.
armor. You should be able to wear it. Yeah,
it's different design armor. I think one of the perfect examples of that would be like if you look at the bow armor. That they showed in the weapon previews, right? That bow armor, the male version has like a hat, and the female version has a helmet. So it's more about like, oh, which one of these do you want?
People could just think of it like Gunner and Blade Master armor.
Yeah.
There's alpha and beta, and you get to choose which flavor you want, and that's kind of cool.
This was a feature that I've seen massively requested over the years.
Oh, yeah.
And it is not being done by reasons that people think it is. And fundamentally, it's like, look, if somebody wants to wear a dress as a male character, I don't care. It's like, I don't want to do that, but if somebody else wants to do that, go right ahead. It's like, and this is a feature, by the way, which I find interesting. This is a feature that has been present in Dark Souls since Dark Souls 1. Like, you can wear the dress from Dusk of Ulasil, and then you go to Dark Souls 2, you can do the same. There's dresses there as well that you can wear on male characters. You go to Dark Souls 3,
Final Fantasy 14 finally is getting rid of all that.
So
they had a lot of gender locked stuff,
Yeah.
and yet they've unlocked all of it and just said, look, the models can now accommodate it.
I remember that you could wear Tubi's armor as a male. It gave you a bigger butt, which that was a thing. Like it gave you a bigger butt, and then they were like, "Oh, that was a mistake," and then they nerfed it, and players were like, "Hey, you can't do that," and then they put it back. But yeah, the whole thing is like this was a massively requested community feature that people have wanted since forever.
Yeah.
And
I think
it's
those
like,
are just, professional offended people doing that stuff.
I don't
think
I don't like
I
the
don't know.
segregate.
I did a lot of searches, right? And I know it's not exhaustive, but it was exhaustive enough to say I think the vast majority I didn't see anybody really either giving a shit or people who are really excited about it. Like, how are you going to get upset saying that there's now when you craft an armor, you get two versions,
Yep.
and you could just choose which one you want. Like, what is there to get upset about there?
There is one thing.
You're delusional.
There is one thing that people have brought up, which is we potentially might not get alpha and beta sets, if that is the case.
Good.
I mean, but sometimes the alpha and beta sets were slightly different, which is what people are.
Yeah, but now we're going to get
but
two
it's
different
like,
ones. Whether you want to call it alpha,
if I
beta,
had
you
to,
want to call it female, male,
no,
who cares?
What I'm saying is like, if we had to choose, would you rather have alpha, beta, or access to male and female? I think I would prefer access to male and female simply because they're way more different, and you can do more. You can do more different fashion layered sets with them. But yeah, it was kind of sad to see that some people were upset over that because, like I said, this isn't being done for DEI reasons. This was massively, and I do mean massively, requested by the community. I would see these comments so often. This is just Capcom being like, okay, they want the ability to do this, go right ahead. There it is. We did the thing. Community requested it. Here you go. So this is them just listening to the players. But yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's unfortunate.
One of the things that was announced was that, and it was pretty cool. Another thing that was also announced was underwater traversal, but not combat. I haven't even seen that footage yet because
I saw it on the live stream when they were doing it. But basically, it was like, you know how like in the ancient forest in the world, there's that little part where you can dive under the water. It's just a more expanded version of that, which is a lot more pretty, a lot more immersive. And there was even some like fish and items in there that you could potentially gather. So it was like really cool. And I think we talked about in the podcast, like one of my favorite moments in just environmental stuff in Monster Hunter 3, Third Fleet finally. It was like when you're going through the water and you're fighting Laggy and it goes and it hides in that cave in the very back.
Yeah.
You go through this underwater like tunnel and you have to have enough oxygen and then you get out the other side and you get into this like little like cave and then you get out and you can fight it. Like the idea of like going, I don't know what it is. Like there's probably a name for it, right? Like if I had to do it, I'd probably freak out because it's like claustrophobia, like going into a cave, like under like a thin thing. But like being able to travel there and even the secret can't follow you and then you get out the other end, that just feels cool. I don't know what the word for that is, but
yeah, I've actually, for some reason, I've seen a lot of that pop up in my feed recently of people doing like these super tight cave exploration things, and I was like, bro, you couldn't pay me to do that. You are crazy. Like they're really just like squeezing through and just like crawling through, and I was like, nah, never gonna do that. Hell no.
I get a panic attack just watching. Just even mention that makes.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's nice that you do have that, and I think it also gives you the possibility.
But they did say no combat. I think they were quick to tell people, look. No, there's not underwater combat.
But what if you had to run away?
It doesn't mean...
What if you had to run away from a monster? Yeah.
They're not like prepping it and saying, hey, the controls aren't so bad. Wouldn't it be nice if there was some combat in here?
I don't know.
They're working on the physics, I think they're opening the door for a possible underwater expansion. Wouldn't that be pretty sweet for the G rank if they added in underwater? That'd be awesome.
I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see what the team is working on.
Maybe we played and we're like, yeah, I wouldn't want to do fighting in this water. Nah, man.
Yeah.
Who knows? We'll see.
One of the things that you brought up earlier was the UI, and this is actually something that Peppo complained to me about, which is
Can I guess what it is?
Okay.
I've been listening to some people's videos, and one thing which I'm really surprised about was people saying they didn't like knowing when status ailments would disappear.
That's not what Peppo was complaining about.
What was Peppo complaining
about? The timer is on the right side now.
The timer for what?
The hunt timer is on the right side. It used to be on the left side.
On the upper left. Yeah.
Now it's
I
on
wonder
the
if you can
right side
customize
where the quest is. I don't know if you can customize. I haven't checked it.
They should do like Final Fantasy 14 levels of customization. You just move around the elements as you like. That'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Huh?
Indeed.
Interesting. Yeah, that I could see where that would bother
Speedrunners,
yeah.
particularly, yeah, right? Because they're used to
'cause
looking at
they're
the
constantly
clock
looking
all
at
the
the-
time. So it's like when he was telling me about this, like, I don't care, dude. I hunt so slow, it doesn't make any difference where they put the clock. I'm not looking at it, but yeah, I can understand if you're like
That's
a
interesting. I never
speedrunner.
even noticed.
Yeah. Do you know I got to meet Peppo? Peppo's a really chill dude. I didn't know that he was Italian, which is cool because Italians have some of the best cuisine in the world. They got the good stuff.
Yes. Nice.
Got to meet Beppo, Nyx, Shincry, Ark. Like, I met so many different people. I'm probably missing a bunch of them, but yeah, I got to meet a lot of people. Actually, you know what was funny? Yesterday I was tweeting at Kanta because I was like, I have this theory because I had seen Kanta's tweets while I was at the show, and I was like, I have this theory that you saw me. And he was like, yep, I saw you a couple of times while you were at the show floor. And you didn't call out. What the hell?
I was going to do a tweet and I forgot, saying, like, when they had everybody in front of the stage saying, Kanta's probably here and none of us know it.
Yeah, he was. He definitely was. Like, as I remember at one point, as a matter of fact, I'll tell you even more. I am pretty sure that Kanta is in the video that I recorded of the long queue, because of the time when I recorded that video, and he also tweeted that he was in the queue and how long he was going to wait for. I'm like, I'm 90% sure he's somewhere in that video, but we're never going to know who he was.
Yeah. Anybody listening to this, I'm sure already knows it, but stuff like Peppo, Kanta, all these are really gifted speedrunners and just good streamers, so check them out if you haven't. But like, oh man,
absolutely. Like, Peppo already has like a giga breakdown of the longsword because that's pretty much all he did. He would just go in, play longsword, go in, play some more longsword.
Yeah. My favorite memory of Kanta is when Alatrion dropped in Iceborne, and it was tough. I was having a hard time, and then you look at the stream, and it was like several hours after the update dropped, and Kanta hadn't beaten it yet. I'm like, okay, I feel good. Like, if Kanta hasn't beaten it yet, that means maybe I'm not as much a scrub as I thought. You know?
Yeah, I do remember. I think it was something similar for me because I remember afterwards going over, oh damn, Kanta hasn't even beaten it. Like Kanta is the
usually
one
will destroy the monster before the patch releases, right? Like,
exactly.
It's,
So, I can't
Kanta's
believe
like
not
the,
even Kanta's done it. That's crazy.
What is it? The Chuck Norris of Monster Hunter?
Yeah, something like that.
Kanta, she's there's weapons and the monsters are already dead.
So, a couple of interesting things. Did you know that we now have skills on weapons?
Yes. I thought that was interesting.
Did you see what was the skill on the bowguns? Because I didn't check that one. Dude, it was so frustrating. I was going over my footage because, you know, you only have a certain time to record and whatnot. And when I was recording, I was going over the weapons super fast just to see what's the skill on all of them. And all of them had speed sharpening. So I got to the gun lance. I got to the gun lance and I was like, okay, it's not worth watching any of the other weapons. And then when I was watching the footage, I was like, I never saw what was on the bow or on the bow guns.
Yeah,
I don't believe that those would have speed
this,
sharpening.
No, the skill's name is different, I think, in Rise Sunbreak, which is why I'm confused what it's called right now. But it used to be called, I think, ballistics, but then it was changed to trajectory, I think.
Oh.
I think it extends the window for critical distance by a little bit, or it makes it a little bit closer.
Okay, that might have been what was on those. Yeah. Okay.
But the armor still has slots, so there is room for this thing. They're still using the old, the recent skill system of like level 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. However, I was interested to see that the speed sharpen, at least in this build, only had 2 levels for max, not 3.
Was it? Are you sure?
Yeah. From the footage I saw, yes, on the Japanese sides.
Listen,
this is funny. Like usually,
I'm going to check live. I'm going to
almost all the Japanese content creators that got to do stuff. Most of them at the very beginning were like, "I'm just going to speed record all the UI." They went through all the armors, all the options.
Jesus Christ!
They know what's going on, right? They know people.
Oh, you're right.
Get through that
you're
stuff
right. I can see it right here on my footage. Yeah, it's just 2 levels. I didn't even notice at the time.
It's so minute, I know, but I
Yeah.
found it interesting.
There was a bunch of stuff that I didn't even notice. Like apparently, gun lances no longer had shelling levels. Where the shelling level was supposed to be, it just said, I think it was optimal. Yeah, shelling
Interesting.
type normal, power normal. That's
Huh.
just what it says. Shelling type normal, power normal. That's all you get.
Yeah. I
Which,
expect that the
yeah.
sets that they have are not the final sets that are in the game.
But
I
here's the
think they're
thing.
just. I think they're good for their. Why was like okay? So like anyway, like the hope. What do they call it? The hope helm. The hope set. The set is like the basic village set, right? It's called the hope
Yeah.
set. I thought it was really interesting in the weapon descriptions and the armor descriptions. They talk about adventuring to the east, the eastern regions. So it tells me that wherever we're going, the Forbidden Lands is east of the New World. It's probably like which I thought was interesting. And they even have a thing called Eastern Honey, which was part of the meal that you can do as one of the garnishes.
Hmm.
So I thought that was interesting. It doesn't mean anything at this point, but I don't know what that means that the waste plains or whatever it's called, the wind plain,
Windswept.
desert, windswept.
No, it's not
valley?
winds. I keep saying windswept. It's windward plains.
Windward.
I even
the
got
plains.
Joe confused on the podcast that I did with him because I kept saying windswept for some reason. Yeah, it's windward.
Now you got
windward
me all
plains.
screwed up. You
Yep.
can tell I've been listening to you. So the plains might be either the eastern part of the Forbidden Lands, or maybe it's the Forbidden Lands itself is eastern to where we're normally from. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, I thought that was interesting. But that set had 3 levels of Divine Blessing. If you put on the full set, it had Stamina Recovery level 1 and Stun Resistance level 1.
And then there's also what they called the group skills. Is that like set bonuses? I'm looking at it
so
on
this
my
was
UI
interesting.
right
Yeah,
now. Yeah.
So it was interesting because they're bringing back the set bonuses, which is if you have X amount of parts from the same. I think it's called a series bonus from the same series. Like if you have like Doshaguma, for example, had a 2-tier skill for wearing its armor. If you had 2 pieces of it, you got the first
Powerhouse
level. If you had 4
1
pieces, and Powerhouse 2.
and Powerhouse
Now
2,
they
yeah.
didn't. No one showed what it did, but I did notice
But-
in the Japanese streamers that when they won a power clash, their hunter would spark red before they did the finisher attack. So it tells me, I think it increases the damage.
Oh, I'm
win a
making
power
that
clash.
set. I'm making that set if that's the case.
In the Japanese, the name is called like being proud or gloaty about your power, so it makes sense,
Yeah.
right? And
So
it wasn't like a period thing. They didn't stay red. It was just for that moment. So it's either a larger down or bigger damage, one of the two.
yeah,
I'm gonna guess damage.
the thing about the set damage is the set bonuses is that on the Eric stream we tried getting those. Wait, but there's 2 different things. So there's set bonus skills.
That's the series, right? So that's the same monster, but then they
then
have
there's
what
group
I think is even
skills.
more exciting.
So you
group
can use it
skills
from
means-
several different monsters. You can
so
mix
if
and
you
match.
have
Yeah.
they had 2 examples. One was for hang on a second, I have my notes here. But yeah, I mean it's kind of like a thing. Like they had one group bonus that came from Doshaguma as well, which was the way it's worded in Japanese would suggest that it's for beast wyverns, which I assume he is. Is he not beast wyvern, but
Fang
yeah,
Beast.
wyvern, right?
Fang Beast.
Or fanged beast. Yeah. So what do they call? I don't know what the English name on this one is, but there's a skill that it activates that if you can have 3 pieces of a monster of that type, you get Fortitude, which is that skill that allows you to
Die and get more health.
die and get a little bit more stronger.
Mhm.
It's like the Angry Fur is like kind of like the name that they're given for it. It's kind of funny.
Interesting.
And then they also had the Doshaguma set and the Chatakabra set didn't have specific bonuses for having that monster's parts, but they did have group bonuses. So one of them was the scale stretching technique, in English it was called,
Yep.
And it pretty much means like a leviathan or something that can stretch and you know,
There's
slither and stuff. And if
there's
you get
one
three
that
of those, you get
says
Master Mounter.
there's one that says Leathercraft Flexibility,
Yeah.
which is Master Gatherer.
Yeah. So
Scale stretching
Leathercraft Flexibility
technique,
is the
yeah.
one that comes with hang on a second.
Yeah, all I have is Scale Stretching Technique, Leather Flexibility, Leathercraft Flexibility, and the set bonus of Doshiguma. I don't see any others. And I went through all the armors. Yeah.
Yeah, so scale stretching technique, like the Leviathans, is Master Mounter, which I thought was, I was like, okay, Insect Glaive, I'm going for that right
Yeah.
away. Balahada is going to be my one, which makes total sense because you could see like how it just mounts Doshiguma during their turf war and just strangles it. It's so great. Yeah, the other one was from
It's leather,
Chattacabra.
like I said,
Yeah,
leather
Leathercraft flexibility. So
it's Master Gatherer,
yeah,
which is good that we still have the Master Gatherer skill because it means that gathering is not going to be completely ignored, which is very nice.
Yes, I saw in, I want to say it was either someone's video or the live stream, I can't remember which, but they confirmed that it's not going to be like Rise where you just press one button and all of a sudden you've gathered everything at that spot. I think you'll still have like a 1, 2, 3 kind of. It won't be as manual.
I
probably, but
I prefer that personally.
Yeah, I like it. But as far as skills, if anybody's interested, I did not catch the skill that was on the Doshiguma chest piece, but the helm had full stomach level 1, the arm had recovery speed up, the waist had recovery speed up, and then the legs had full stomach as well. I'm going to assume it has full stomach so that it's like a level 3.
You mean free meal?
Or free meal, yeah. Why did I write full stomach? That's the Japanese
Wait,
translation.
I have it. Yeah, it is free meal.
Free meal,
The
yeah.
the chest is 100% free meal. I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, Chattacabra, I only got to see 2 pieces, and those had fast eating. Again, I don't think these are going to be like the final sets for these monsters.
Speed eating for Chattacabra. Yeah, I don't think it makes that much sense to even focus so much on this. These are just like, this is the type of analysis that I didn't even want it to focus too much on. No, it's fine.
But like the group series though is really cool.
Yeah,
that's going to lead to more set theory, right? Like saying, well, you can have this, but if you have 3 brute wyverns or you have 2 leviathans, you get this, and I think that's cool.
I wasn't even aware of the group thing. I'd heard about the set bonuses, but I hadn't really looked with too much attention to this group skill thing, which is also extremely important. Yeah, that is really cool. See, this is one of the things that when you're on the show floor, you actually end up missing a lot of the details because you're focused on what's happening there. So one of the people I definitely want to shout out is Rage Gaming, because on one of the, I think it was Thursday morning, I was like super tired from Wednesday. I was like, oh God, what is going on? And I wanted to do a podcast with Jono. And so I was like, oh, I wonder how many things I missed. I need to go watch the videos. And then I see a video from Rage Gaming. It's like, here's, I don't know, 20 something things that we've learned. And I was like, all right, let's watch this. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't notice that one either. It's like all of these things. And I was like, God damn, that was so much. So that was very, very useful.
Okay, you might find this interesting. I was looking at the UI for when people were cooking meals. Yeah. Because, I mean, one thing, they're actually having the meals reflect what you do. So now that
is really cool.
When you choose fish or veggies, you're not going to be served meat. Like, nope, here's the steak for you. Like, that was cool.
You know that I have a friend of mine who's vegan who would actually go into the thing and be like, okay, veggie platter. And he would tell me like, Rui, no, I asked for veggie platter. They keep giving me meat. And I was like, yeah, bro, you need that protein. You got to get that protein, like the Meowskiller chef would say.
Hey, the very first advertisement they ever did for Monster Hunter, ever, in Japan, was a picture of a hunter by a little skillet with like a massively sized like bone with meat on it. It says, you eating meat? Like that was the original advertisement. No monster, just a huge ass bone.
I still remember the dude, I think he died, right? The dude who made the Try commercials. You see, lad, in life, there's hunters, and then there's monster hunters. And that was really cool.
Oh, man. But, I was looking at it, and one of the food skills, since I was really curious, I'm like, I wonder if there's anything interesting in here. And they have, like, you got your main ingredient, then you get your sub-ingredient, then you get, like, your final garnish, so to say, right? So you can choose your stuff. So the Eastern honey increased the effect of heals, like potions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the wild herbs, if you use them, it reduced the duration that you suffer from status ailments.
Yeah, and you get to basically
But there was
choose.
one that was really interesting, which was the monster cherry. It said that it would eliminate the effect of hot and cold environments. And it would slightly increase your defense when in those environments. So I was like, oh, they're going to have hot and cold environments again.
But there's a limit to the time of the meal.
Yeah.
It's not
So you
time
just gotta
limited.
eat again.
Although no, but it doesn't matter because the limit, if you select 3 ingredients, the limit's 50 minutes. So
Yeah.
again, if it
So-
stays like that, it won't even make a difference. Unless you're only eating like 1 ingredient, then it's only 20 minutes or something.
But Iceborne had a similar thing, right? They had like the hot environment and the cold
Yeah,
environment, and then there was meals that would negate that
No,
sort
I
of
don't.
effect.
I don't
Or-
remember if there was meals that would negate it. There were armor skills that would negate it. You had like the
but-
warming decoration and I don't know what the other one was called, the colding decoration, chilling decoration.
Yeah, so I don't know what this means, but all I know is that it does confirm that there will be hot and cold areas. I don't know how they're going to function, but I was happy to see that.
You can listen to my interview when that releases, where the developers talk a
Ooh.
little bit more about that. Not specifically
When is
hot
it?
and cold, but just like environments and monsters and the hunting simulation aspect. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Other stupid stuff that you probably don't care about. I actually, you know what? When I just said the word heal, I want to get your opinion on this. So,
Okay.
some people like the option, some people don't. It's not necessary, but you have the option now that you can just take your items, right? You can drink a potion or a mega potion, but they also have a new third choice, which is optimal healing.
Yeah,
And so if
I
you
love
use
it.
that, then like if you're only hurt a little, then you'll just have a potion. If you're hurt a lot, you'll grab a mega potion.
Yep.
And it'll decide for you.
Yep.
I think it's a great idea.
I think so
I'll
too.
use it.
It's like I don't know if people are thinking like, oh man, but choosing between a mega
taking
potion
away the
and a
gameplay.
regular potion is a skill. And it's like, no, there's a
Yes,
wheel.
It's engaging gameplay, right?
There's a wheel, and then you choose, and you can probably still do that anyway. So there you go. It's like, don't even worry about it. I have
Yeah,
no
don't
issues
like it, don't
whatsoever
use
with
it.
this one. It's like I made a tweet yesterday where I say that too much convenience in Monster Hunter is a bad thing, and I think people don't understand what I'm talking about because they're like, well, what exactly is it? Like, there's all these things, and I was like, yeah, those things are fine. I'm talking about like we shouldn't have infinite restocks. That's too much, you know. We should have some type of mechanic for hot and cold environments, which we didn't have.
Well, they
in
did
Rise and
mention this
Sunbreak.
time that during the middle of hunting, you'll get additional rations and supplies sent directly
Yes.
to the sacred.
Yep. It's
do you
not
feel about
sent to the sacred. Alma goes and puts it there. That's why she's on the field with you. She goes and she gets your supply. I mean, I don't know if she physically goes, but that's like the justification.
Can
Alma
we
goes
kill
and,
her? Like we
Why-
place the camp in an area where Doshaguma can
Why
jump
would
on
you-
it, and then
You're so
we
evil.
request her to go to the camp, and then he stomps her.
Yeah, I
and-
don't think you request. I think she does everything automatically. But yeah, I've actually interacted with that during a hunt where you have deliverables, and it's actually super easy. You just mount sacred, press left stick. That's it. Mount sacred, press left stick, and there's a little menu that shows up and tells you, oh, you've received these things, and you can transfer them to your bag, or they'll remain in sacred until you have use for them. But yeah,
Super
I think
rando,
that's a
but-
good thing.
Did anybody test how many auto evades it can do before you get hit off
No,
of
I only did one auto
Ah.
evade because again, it's one of those things where let me just stay on top of sacred on these precious 30 minutes that I have to play the game. I'm just gonna stay
Yeah, I
on top
know.
of sacred and wait to dodge. It's like I'm not doing that.
it? It sounds very limited. It sounds like it's just like it would be very stressful if you know you need to get out of there. You're doing the correct thing by calling your mount. You're going the right direction to get like stumbled on like a little pea pod, sort of like the original Ninja Gaiden, like constantly jumping and getting hit. That'd be annoying. So like first few ones, okay, we'll let you get out of there.
The way that I look at it, the way that I look at it is initially this was something that I was concerned with as well. But you're basically using Sacred as a means of travel, and the second you get to the monster, you usually want to dismount anyway. So it's not like you're attacking the monster from Sacred, because it's very limited.
Which you can, which I thought was interesting. They did mention.
Yeah, you can
like
do a very basic attack.
I think it's more for aggro dragging, right?
Probably. But you can also do like a dismount attack. So you straight up jump off and you have like a special animation. So with the charge blade, he jumps off and then does like 2 swipes with the sword. With the gun lance, it does an aerial burst. And with the lance, it does like a thrust thing that I completely missed both times I tried using it. But not just that, you can also just jump off of Sacred. And then you have all of the options that you would have had if you like jump off a ledge with a sheathed weapon. So you can do unsheath attacks in the air. So, say for instance, if you're playing Charge Blade, you can just, instead of doing the dismount attack of the 2 slashes, you can jump off of Sacred and press R2 and smash with the axe as well. So, those are the 2 options of dismounting attacks off of Sacred. And while we're on the topic of mount attacks, have you seen what you can do when you actually mount the monster?
Yeah, so I see that you have the strong knife, the weak knife, and then you can do your
weapon attack.
And you can do a weapon attack.
Yeah,
but so I saw that someone was mentioning in the Japanese videos that the knife attacks are actually really strong.
The strong attacks, yeah.
Like, so why would you? Where do you choose between doing a weapon attack or a?
That's the thing. I don't know
knife?
why. I don't know why you would choose between, say, the strong knife attack or the weak knife attack. I'm not exactly sure why you would choose between those. But to give you an idea, the weak knife attack is the one we're used to, where it just goes like, just like stabs him for 1 damage. If you do the strong knife attack, it's more like a concentrated stab, and that one deals more damage. And then if you do your weapon attack, it'll be like a signature attack from your weapon, which I didn't get that many mounts, so I didn't see that much. But with the gun lance, he just stabs the monster and shoots 1 shell. That's kind of like... Now, the cool thing about mounts is that there's different mounted finishers, and I've only done the better mounted finisher so far. I haven't seen what the second one is. At least I think there's more than one, but the idea is you want to make a wound on the monster, and then you can do a focus strike from mounting.
Oh,
so with the gun lance,
the pole dances for Insect Glaive it's the mounting finisher.
So the gun lance straight up puts the drill on and goes like, and just like drills a stake into the monster and then jumps off and the stake explodes. It's beautiful. The charge blade. It's the pizza cutter. He just goes like...
We were just talking about meat, so when you said you drive a steak in there, I was thinking like a nice, juicy, healthy steak.
Yeah, dude. No. But like, so with the charge blade, which is interesting because I got the footage going on in the background. I'm actually doing it to Ray Dow right now. And so he straight up puts the charge blade in Savage Axe mode. And just rams it right into the monster's face and then kind of like drives it through. The animation really brings it home. Like you actually see the character like shift his stance.
Gears of War.
To like drive the chainsaw through the monster. And he jumps off. It is so good, dude. It is amazing. But yeah, those were the 2.
This is why everybody should play Insect Glaive because it's going to be the master of mounting.
You're gonna do that little the exotic dancer pole dance.
Yeah, you stick the glaive's like knife edge into the body and then spin around it. It does damage like. And then jumps off and does.
You know what somebody needs to do? They grab that animation, put it on loop, and put the dan 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 dan. You spin me right round, baby, right round like a record, baby. That's what we need right there. No, but mounting attacks are looking pretty badass. I was very, very happy about that. So we also already talked about focus modes. One of the things that we didn't discuss is how wounds work. So you just attack monsters and they get wounds, right? That's pretty basic. You don't need to be in focus mode to generate wounds. The monsters just get wounded from attacks.
Hit same spot several times, it get hurt. Easy.
And you get a wound. So then you can use a focus strike to break that wound, or you can just keep attacking and eventually the wound will break. And you get the rewards
and
for
then
the
a
part
focus
break
strike just
and all of that. The focus strike is just a really powerful attack.
Yeah, I was really surprised to find out that all it is when you're facing it, it's just holding L2 and pressing R1.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's a focus attack. It's a lot easier because when you hold down L2, you can actually then aim because you get that little target reticle. Or you can just pop it if you know that you're attacking the right spot. Just go to strike.
You know when it's hard to understand focus strikes? When you're playing the German version of the game and you don't speak the language. That's when it's hard to understand focus strikes, which I didn't do a single one in my first session that I played the game.
What's interesting is the insect glaive. You know where he does like the forward jump, and he almost does like that Game of Thrones like pole move where he like does a single hand stab with the staff, and then he does a backflip and then goes
and fires
and sends out the Kinsite.
Yeah,
that's all just one move. That's the focus attack. It's just one input.
That is pretty cool. I saw that
held L2, hit R1, and boom, he just does it. And that Kinsite attack is freaking juicy.
Yeah, I saw that in Cowboy's video. Cowboy already made his gameplay video look really cool with that stuff. Now the other thing is if you stop hitting the wound, it can scar and heal.
Yeah.
And
do
then
you know how long?
And
Did
then
anybody test that?
No, you just lose. I don't know how long it takes to heal, but you just lose that wound. Like that's done. It's scarred over. You don't get to get that wound again for that monster. That's it. With one exception.
Wait,
this is
it never comes back if you attack that spot a lot. You can't make a new wound in the
it's
same
scarred.
Location?
At least according to what I've been told,
it gets hardened?
Yeah, and unless they change that or unless I misunderstood it again. Because I got to be careful with what I say now because I'm still surprised that people took the thing that I said on the Eric stream about the hunting horn. They were like, it's official confirmation because I said it. but I was very careful because I did know.
You are a developer in Japan now.
No, but I did know for a fact that was official because I spoke with the devs about it and they told me, yes, this is intended. So that information is correct. But I was just still surprised that people just took my word for it. I have to be careful with the influence that my word now wields, which is why I'm saying, from what I was told, once a wound scars, it doesn't open up again. So whether you break it with your thing, that wound is spent. You don't get it again. With one exception so far, which is Doshiguma. So you know about the Doshiguma thing, which is when he enrages. It's really cool. He enrages and he rips open all of his wounds again. So he's super dangerous when he's enraged, but at the same time, he's also super vulnerable to focus strikes.
It's like the old like movies where it's like, no, Uncle Gary, sit down. Oh, get this damn blanket off me. Like in the hospital, I'm just enraging, opening up all his wounds again. And it's like high risk, high return. He seems hyper aggressive, but if you're just going to like not be intimidated and just smack the shit out of him, then more profanity, then like... You are rewarded for what you did.
Yeah, you can have at it, which is pretty cool. Another really interesting...
do you think we might get challenge hunts where people only make weak spots on the anus or the butthole of the monster, and that's it? And we do like a butt-only run? Like if you create a weak point anywhere else, you have to fail the hunt?
The worst part about that is that on my official live stream, people noticed that, and this was not intentional, but I was I want to show. Yeah, I just wanted to showcase. Hey guys, look, the sneak attack. But the easiest way to get a sneak attack is from behind the monster. So up in there.
And this is why. I'm
never gonna do another official Capcom
English
stream.
Name? Dire Morales. Dire Morales will not make a return because all you did in that fight was hit him in the crotch the entire time.
Oh,
no. Poor guy.
He's never coming back like that. But, another interesting thing that I had here is, have you seen the luring pods mechanic?
Yes, I think that's. I mean, as someone who is now, I would say, not a newbie anymore in the MMO genre. I think I've earned the right to say I understand
It's like
MNT
it's cool
now,
because it
or
almost
aggro.
the aggro lines seem straight out of like the behemoth fight, the
Yeah,
Colette
yeah,
fight from
yeah.
Monster Hunter World.
It's Monster
So
Hunter language, yeah.
yeah, you get that, and basically you can act as a tank for your team, which is pretty cool.
Yep.
So like if you
Over
have
here.
a shield weapon, like that's I just hope those are not too hard to craft, because that's exactly what I'm gonna do. It's like, yep, pod, I'm the tank. Let's go, let's do the thing, and everybody can just
I
wail
imagine
on the
though that
monster.
like any other ailment, they eventually become immune.
They probably
or
become
it's
immune after
harder
a
to
while.
other-
Yeah, but the idea of that is more so to provoke like turf wars, like
Split
we
up.
had for the
Yeah,
stink mink in Rise and whatnot. So that would be what I would imagine. By the way,
Also, is interesting. Oh, go ahead.
the way that you do split up the packs is a super easy way, because we were wondering, because of the way they do it in the trailer, they drop rocks and whatever. But the easy way to split up the pack is they apparently have a huge dung bomb.
Poop.
A
Yeah,
giga
just for
dung
poop.
bomb. It's like a big explosion of poop around the monsters. And I had to use that. I hate doing that because, like, listen, when the actual game comes out, I want to fight herds straight up. I'm just gonna fight the
Really?
whole herd.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want to fight the whole herd. I don't want to use dung pods, but I had to do it in the
Which you
interest
can
of
do.
time.
They didn't
Yeah,
mention you can do that, and it is a way to get some extra materials for that monster if you want to farm their set faster.
I actually tried doing that at the beginning of my recording session, and I was like,
Yeah, I want to know how many
could-
carbs you get from the non-alpha.
Yeah.
Maybe just one or two.
I don't know, but like, I think they might just give you full carbs for the other ones, because they're pretty tough. Because I actually made a mistake in my capture session, and I had started attacking the wrong Doshiguma. So like I was attacking the alpha.
We got to do like extermination challenges. Go into the
Yeah.
map and kill everything but the alpha.
Just kill all his friends and family. Gaijin,
Yes.
what's wrong with you? Yeah, we're gonna kill all of your friends and we're getting into the realm of cruel and unusual punishment. I'm actually looking at gameplay footage right now, and I was paying attention to where we're talking about Alma. I just saw her like in the distance as I'm beating up on this shot the Cabra. You can actually see Alma running around in the distance. On
Where are you sticking that gun, Lance?
I was actually playing the Lance at this point, but yeah. The other thing is
ribbed for its pleasure.
something along those lines.
Oh man.
The other thing is, have you heard about the pop-up camps? So
Yes,
the way
those
that
are
those
awesome.
work is you use points. It's not materials, it's points. And you spend a certain amount of points, you place down to camp, and if you place it in certain zones, the monsters come in and destroy it. And we actually had that happen during the Eric
Yeah, I was
stream.
really happy that Yozo decided to also show it on live stream.
Yeah, but like I think Paradise goes into the tent to swap weapons. Doshiguma goes in there and is like, no, he breaks the camp. And that had people thinking, oh, what if we could barrel bomb the camp? And I'm just like, no, wyvern fire it. I'll wyvern fire the camp. That'd be amazing. Although that's probably also going to lead to griefing. Like, there's going to be some assholes going to run around with a gun lance blowing up everybody's camps. But yeah, that was pretty cool. The fact that you have that feature in there, and
Because
you
if you summon NPC hunters, they apparently come from your camps that
from
you have set
the
up.
pop-up camps, yeah, they
Yeah.
show up from
So
that.
you know what I'm looking forward to doing, I think, is I want to do like a Michelin star type of review. I want to review all the possible campsites in the one locale and be like, this one, we'll judge it by the view, the ambiance, the how dangerous is it, how accessible is it, what items are around it. I think that would be a fun video.
Yeah,
I would
that,
if
that does sound cool, especially because the
I
locales
want
are
to do
so
that because
vast.
no one's gonna do that. Everyone wants to do like big damage combo crap. I'm gonna do stuff like that. I want to do a snoring video. I want to hear the snores of all the monsters. I want to kill all the non-alpha challenges, and I want to rate all the camps like a connoisseur.
I think that for sure you and Yuna are going to have an absolute blast playing it, because this is no longer like the traditional, okay, hunt, back to hub, hunt again. It's like you can just keep going, and
Just spend hours out there.
even the way that rewards work now. So like if you break apart, you instantly get it.
You
It's
get
not
the
a
reward,
shiny. It's not a shiny in the ground. You just get the
Yeah.
reward for the part.
Still an
break
RNG,
right
whether
there.
you'll get the part
Yeah,
you
yeah,
want,
yeah,
but you'll
exactly.
get whatever it is, yeah.
Because, like, for instance, guys, for those who don't have to wear, if you break a tail, you might not always get a tail. Sometimes you might
Yeah.
get a gem or a mantle. Other times you
they're-
might get
and
a
they're
scale.
baking in the investigation system. They're just making that the default quest system now. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's really cool.
So
You
every
just go
monster
up-
that appears might be stronger than a normal one, or and it might carry like an additional, reward for killing it.
Yep.
And you'll know it's stronger because it tells you. And then for some of the monsters, if you've gathered that material, it'll tell you straight up, you kill this monster, we will give you 2 claws. And you're like, oh, I need 2 claws. And so it's like almost like you're out on the thing. You think you're going to go out adventuring, killing this one monster. Then you're like, well, wait a second. This thing just popped up. I need that part. Okay, let's go do it. And you run
Yeah,
towards
it's
it. And if
just
it
more-
happens to be a
it's just more
monster that
organic.
yeah, and if you damage the monster, like their health persists. So as long as they haven't left the locale, you can come back and say, okay, I'll come back and get you later. And they're
Yep.
weaker. That's awesome. I think this is the smartest thing, because the thing I always complained about with the investigation system was that you would just throw away all the normal quests, became pointless because they didn't give the same amount of rewards, and it just felt so random to just like, oh, you completed a quest for this monster, now you get a quest for hunting this completely unrelated monster, and it's like,
Yeah.
Or now it seems like you're just on the field, and they showed up to 6 large monsters in the field at any given time. There might even be more. I don't know. And there's a really robust
but some of
menu to
those-
show like all that.
Some of those are like, herd monsters, so the remnants of a Doshiguma herd or something like that. So, yeah, those might be a little bit different. But that is definitely a really cool feature, just the seamless of it all. And whenever you finish the quest, you just see the rewards. You don't even have to, do anything. They just instantly get deposited into your box, and you're good to keep going and keep hunting. And you'll receive deliverables. So even while you're hunting, you're still receiving like additional health potions and stuff like that. And yeah.
You know what we're gonna have? We're gonna have the no village challenge, right? Complete the story mode without ever leaving the field.
No, I think you have to go to the village
Unless you're
probably
forced
for
to.
story. Oh, okay. Unless you're forced to. Sure. But the thing is that they also do an interim camp in that latest trailer. They show us a camp that's just like a temporary camp. So that's not a village. That's just something that they set up real quick. So I'm curious to see more of that. Actually traveling companions and setting up camps at strange spots throughout the world, and then eventually finding additional villages and all that. I think that's cool.
Find me and Gemma a nice camp location to chill out between the hunts.
And the other thing is the companions that you get through the SOS flares, they're actually like story NPCs.
Yeah, they're named characters that you interact with throughout the story. So that's from Sunbreak, and I think that is, we've discussed it at length of how much we love that feature. And it seems like the AI is even more improved. Again, like you can customize them, but they're also like they have a really good grasp on what you're trying to attempt, and they try not to get in the way, or they try to support. Like if you're mounting, they'll get in position for when you topple it and stuff like that. And if you set down a trap, they'll lure it towards the trap and stuff like that. So hey man, you hunters need to like get better, because you're gonna be replaced by AI.
Oh my God, no!
No.
I hope that there's still,
I'm sure they won't
incentives,
be as good as
incentives for people to play with others, because I always find that to be really cool, just hanging out and multiplayer.
I'm sure there is,
But I
yeah.
also know that there's people that obviously they just want to play by themselves, and it's cool that they can now just bring in these NPCs to help out on some of the tougher hunts. I think that was
especially
pretty smart.
Especially if you are like me and sometimes you need that pause button. I imagine being able to hunt with NPCs means that you can pause the game.
Yep.
That's my assumption. I don't know, but
I would imagine
that
the
would be,
same.
That package from Amazon is coming in the next 30 minutes. I do not want to bing bong in the middle of a mount. You're like, just leave it.
Oh.
It works in Japan, but I've seen videos of people snatching packages overseas, which is horrible.
Yeah, people do that. It is what it is. But dude, so far I'm so much more excited for the game now that I've played it because it feels more like World. My weapon feels really good. Like
Oh
I'm
yeah.
so happy about the way that Gunlance feels. Lance also felt
If you
amazing.
thought I was like lukewarm on it, you should know like Yuna was very lukewarm on this game.
At the beginning,
Going well, even like when I came around, she had not come around yet.
interesting.
She's like, I'm not feeling it at all. She's like, this is not my sequel to Iceborne, which she loves.
So when did it change
I
for
don't know
her?
what this is. Gamescom, seeing the gameplay.
Yeah,
She's like,
just seeing raw
oh, wow,
gameplay makes such
okay.
a massive difference.
She's
yeah.
like, I think she said her excitement level went from -200 to 10,000 positive.
Yeah.
She's hyped now. She's just like, this looks amazing. I want to, and that's a sign of a good game when you can watch someone playing it and be like, hand me the controller, man. I want to do that. Yeah, I want to play that too.
Yeah.
That's a sign of gold.
I think it was a good idea for them to finally just reveal some gameplay, even if there are, people now concerned about, the build is only 30 FPS, and
time will solve those issues.
There's crashes and all of these things. And to be honest, I don't know whether or not on PlayStation specifically, the build is going to be able to run at 60 FPS. Not the build, I mean the final version of the game, simply because it is a lot more ambitious than other Monster Hunter titles that we've seen before.
It's
and
going
the
to be a
PlayStation
flagship title for the PS5 Pro.
Yeah, the PlayStation at this point, we're looking at by the time the game comes out, it'll be like 4 years and change. So it is 4-year-old hardware, and they did say something about that they wanted to push the limits of these consoles. But there's also the fact that I think this is supposed to run on the Xbox Series S. Brother, I don't think you're gonna have the best experience on that console. I'm just saying,
720p, 30 FPS. But you know what? That console, is as weird. I still think they made a dumbass move with the graphics memory being different, but like the profile of that system is still super cozy, man. If I was gonna go on a trip and I need to set up at a hotel and play some games, I don't mind myself some 720p and give me some. That's fine. That thing is more portable than the Switches, in my opinion. I love that thing.
Really? The
little
Series
box? Oh,
the Series S more portable than a Switch? I don't think so.
Well, you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck in the hotel room with a Series S than you are a Switch. Well, it depends on the games you play, I
you're
guess,
gonna get
but
no
I got some
bang
love
for
for the
your buck
console,
on a.
even though it's gimped.
You're gonna get no bang for your buck on the airplane seat, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
You get absolutely nothing.
but the Switch ain't playing this game, period. So
Yeah, that is sad.
Steam Deck for that.
It'd be cool that if maybe the Switch 2, if
every
it's powerful
hardware
enough,
should be able to play Monster Hunter, and that would be the dream.
Yeah, that would be the dream.
The more hunters, the better. Especially now that we got crossplay. A lot of people in the chat for Twitch did not seem to know, like they just don't keep up to date with the info like we do. But
they weren't aware that it was
about
crossplay?
cross save and they weren't aware. They're like, wait, is cross play day one? Yes, it is.
Yes, crossplay day one. No cross save. Yeah,
which is fine because you shouldn't be migrating between platforms if you have the choices up front.
No, I would like to have cross save in case I felt like playing on PS5. Why not? It'd be cool.
I mean, I think it would be nice if they implemented it and they just made a rule saying that any paid DLC that you bought off of that store only works on that version. Because I think FF
because that's
right?
probably
the
reason. That's probably the reason. Yeah, there's plenty of games that do that where you just don't get certain items on the other platform, which is understandable.
I think they just don't want to deal with like the customer service. Can you imagine how many times they must be getting emails like, my data's not synced, or it got re-rolled or something, or I started playing on one but I didn't sync it and now it overrode my old save. I want my old data back and blah 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 blah.
I don't know, because there's a couple of games for that? There's a couple of games that have done that in the past, but usually those games have like their own online servers. So I don't know how that's gonna work out.
And Sony being like, I don't want anything to do with any other.
You're not gonna turn this into another anti-Sony podcast, right?
No. I'll be playing on PC for those who are curious.
Yeah,
but now that means that we can still play together, and that's awesome.
Yeah. I'm gonna
freaking
play on
great.
PC as well, though. Yeah, that's gonna be my platform. But
Oh, I
yeah,
got a
that's,
random note that I
go
have here
ahead.
on paper that I don't even know why it's there, but null berries still exist to get rid of Thunderblight. I made that note. Apparently, when you were fighting,
According,
I know this for sure. They're wrong. I saw that video. They're wrong. There's a pop-up that clearly says when the hunter gets Thunderblight to take a null berry or evade a certain amount of time to
yeah,
get rid of it.
that's what I was about to say. That Hollow mentioned in his video that you can roll to get rid of Thunderblight.
Yes, which is awesome because I know like the nest for what's his name?
Ray Dow.
I want to say Del Rey for some reason.
Yeah, I've
Right.
made that confusion a couple of times as well. It's a strange name, but like here's an interesting thing, just real quick about the Charge Blade. You know that you can double charge files?
Double charge files.
Yes. So you know how
What
you
does that do?
you
Make
charge?
them more potent?
Yes.
Oh,
There's more potent
more high
files.
risk, high return. Jesus.
Yeah. There's more potent files if you double charge them. That was probably the first thing I noticed when I played the game that I hadn't seen anybody talk about. So I was
Okay,
like,
well,
oh,
I'll give you
damn.
some minute stuff then. If you, I studied up in some minute stuff for my weapon of choice.
Wait,
So, in the game-
before we get there, real quick. Here's something that are you aware of what's happening with bow coatings?
Yes, I think it's amazing.
You get them back, and I was like, oh, I guess I'm playing bow because I don't have to do ammo
Well,
ammunition.
Well, even bowgun, like your basic ammo will be infinite.
I mean,
You'll
wasn't
have to
it
craft
always?
elemental stuff or what? Not always. No, not all of them.
So
Especially
wait,
like level
what do you
2
mean
normal,
by-
level 3 normal.
Oh, okay. So normal ammo will be infinite, but what about like piercing and spread and?
Those should be infinite as well if that's the main type for that gun. Yeah, but the special ammo like the thunder
So like, wait,
shots or, like, the crag
no,
shots,
wait. Go back. We have
As I understand it, normal
wait,
spread and
3,
pierce.
infinite
are
spread
all-
3.
That's my understanding. I could be correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I've heard them say.
I don't know because I don't do bow guns. But
I mean, infinite doesn't mean capacity, right? You still got a clip size.
yeah,
It just means that you won't
I
have to
get
run
it.
around collecting crap to constantly fuse
I
them and make them
I
again.
might actually play bowgun as well. I mean, it's a gun lance and bowgun. That sound pretty good.
Yeah, the bow thing is interesting because it makes no sense, but I don't care that it makes no sense.
Yeah, it's like, oh,
because
I dodged.
it's a good game mechanic.
I dodged. Now I have power coatings. Nice.
Now I have more stamina too because I can do a perfect dodge and adept dodge, and I love
Oh
it. Bow,
my
bow looks
God.
like it's gonna get busted as hell. I think hunting horn's gonna
Absolutely.
be busted as hell, and in a game that's PvE, you can have busted stuff. It's fine.
Yeah, it's all
Have
good.
fun. Because they're like, oh, the hunting horn. Everyone saw it as support, so we buffed the shit out of it so that it does just as much DPS as like any other weapon. I'm like, it always did. Like, what are you talking about? Like, okay, if you're gonna give it even more damage, Jesus, those of us who can actually hit while we do, we're gonna be eating good.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hunting horn's
But,
crazy. And that's the one thing that's been kind of like a hot topic. That was the one thing that I confirmed, that you can like buff you can use the hunting horn to buff and then swap to a different weapon. You get to keep the buffs, and that is an intended mechanic, but the developers are working so that you don't feel like you have to do that, but you definitely can do that.
You know,
So
I got my two zenny on that one is that I'm so lazy, and the majority of us are so lazy
Yep.
that even in like in Sunbreak, we have like I could just go off here to the path to the right, and I can get a small little power boost that lasts the entire hunt, and I'm not gonna grab it because I'm too damn lazy. I'm just going straight to the monster, baby. You think I don't think most people will. Oh, I'm gonna call my secret, swap my weapon, play a song, encore it, swap my weapon back, and get a little. It's like, man, I'll just pop a demon drug and I'm all good. You know,
and
like
the amount of
it's
damage
gonna
you
make
can
for
deal
some
in that
really
time.
fun TDS videos. I'll
Yeah.
say that.
Of course.
TDS
That-
does some amazing videos with like just how crazy can we get it? That'll be fun.
It's going to be like more of also a speed running thing, probably for people that
Yeah,
are like
yeah,
killing
yeah.
monsters in 3 minutes or less or something, just having that initial burst of damage.
Because you just
There
need
I
one
can
player
see
to
it.
do that, right?
Yeah.
So I could see like 3, the light bowgun, 3 heavy bowgunners,
Oh my
they got
god.
him down, right? And then the light bowgunner
Imagine
usually has a small moment where they're setting up for the next one, so they swap over to a horn, buff everybody, come back, paralyzed, just psh, psh, psh.
the absolute degeneracy that we'll see from bowguns
Yeah.
and the hunting horns is
Hey
going to be
man,
absolutely
if
insane.
if people want to put in the work to do the coordination, they should reap the benefits, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Master hunters.
But you
Whether
were
it's
saying
fun or
about
not is up to the individual. But
you were saying about your weapon?
oh yeah, so like I've only cared about the insect glaive this time because that I'm definitely taking that as my main. And I was really surprised to see that people are quite disappointed that you don't have the helicopter, as they're calling it, I guess, which is like when you hit a monster while
Yeah.
you're in the air, you'll jump up and do an additional jump, and then eventually,
Oh my
do
god.
no damage, run out of stamina, and then
I'm
fall
so
on your butt.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like I actually just noticed a little detail in my gameplay.
Yeah.
Remember how we were talking about you received the deliverables? So
Yeah.
I was fighting a Chatacabra. Alma actually comes by, goes near my character on her sacred and says, "You've received a couple of deliverables," and then heads over to my sacred, stays there for a little bit, and then runs away. So she's actually coming in and depositing the stuff. That's crazy. Oh my god. Unless it was just a coincidence, but that's exactly what it looked like. That's insane.
So
Oh
you can
my
grab
God.
the aggro and lead the Doshiguma right to her, smack her in the face.
Why would you?
See what?
Gaijin, no. No, Gaijin. But yeah, keep going. You're talking about the insect glaive. Sorry.
I love Alma, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
I'm just joking. Yeah. So I looked at the Kinsect stuff right away, because insect glaive. Oh, so the big, I guess you could say, nerf is the insect glaive used to have what people are calling the helicopter, which is as long as you had stamina, if you connected using your aerial hit, I think what was it, like
It's
circle
not
button
stamina.
or whatever.
It's not stamina. You could do it 3 times.
Okay, yeah, you would relaunch yourself up into the air. I know Sunbreak was cool in that they increased your damage output each time.
Yeah.
So the longer you could stay in the air, the more strong you were. I could see some people in the camp of saying, okay, that was the identity of the weapon, being able to be aerial and fly. You're taking that away, but I started with Monster Hunter 4. And that's why I started with Insect Glaive. So to me, the more we can integrate the Kinsect, the more it feels on weapon for me personally. So
Yeah.
the fact
Kinsect
that
was amazing
this game
in 4U.
focuses so much on precision, right? Like hitting the same spot, hitting a weak spot. I think the less time floating around just having fun, like woohoo, aloof, is probably better, because I think you'll play better, and as I think what we're getting in exchange makes up for it, because there's so many attacks now in which the Kinsect will just do. We used to have to grab like a completely different type of Kinsect to get them to do assist moves, right? Now
Yep.
it's just baked in, because I looked and the 2 Kinsects that they have are both level 1s, one Severing, one Blunt. One had a heal dust, one had poison dust.
I
what
didn't
was
see any
interesting is-
dusts.
Yeah, and everyone forgot to use it. Even in the Japanese previews, everyone's like, "Oh, I forgot." But there are dust. It's written on the UI, plain and clear.
Okay.
The one thing I have to double check the Japanese whether or not it's like this in old games, but for the Kinsect level, it doesn't say level; it says current level. And I don't know if that's because you can level up that Kinsect, or whether or not, like, during a fight, maybe they can change. I don't know. Probably the former. And they had a thing, the bonuses they had was enhanced extract collection, whatever that means, and then one had...
Oh, did both of them have it, or only one?
Both had it. And then extract boost recovery,
But
and
wait,
the other one
if
had...
that's a stat, that means that not every Kinsect will be able to have 2 extracts.
See, that's what I need more info on, but there are times where you or Kinsect can grab 3 extracts at once. So I don't know.
Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
If you do the finisher and you land it right, the butt will open up. You know how you have like the 2 wings?
Yeah.
Like it'll spread open, and then the butt gets white, and then you've got the red, orange, and the white, and it can grab all 3 at once. So they're making it so that getting a triple up is really important. So another nerf you can say is that just having red extract will not give you the enhanced actions and combo actions. So the faster attacks that do more hits.
So do you need 3 or do you need red and white? I would expect red and white.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to expect red and white, but it's either that or 3. I don't know the difference because just not enough footage.
Yeah.
But just having red alone is not enough, which makes total sense to me. Especially, I think red and white would make a lot of sense because white denotes your movement ability.
I think
So
that
they've made it
I think that
much
2-6 in
easier.
Paradise played a lot of Insect Glaive. They'll probably be able to confirm that.
I'll check them out then. But
Yeah.
you can. They've made it so that getting a triple up is far faster and easier than it ever was. But now there's ways to consume that as a resource to do big damage. So one of the things is there's a combo pass that where if you hold the circle button, you'll do a new attack, which is like this huge like spinny ninja combo, and then if you then follow it up, you'll do this upward sort of like Shoryuken attack with the Kinsect, and you'll do a ton of hits. You'll use up all your
slash.
extract. Yeah, and the Kinsect will, if it hits, will grab like 2 to 3 more extracts straight off from that attack. So it's another high risk, high return one. Red has always been by far the easiest color to grab because it's just
you can see it in the UI
monster.
now.
Yeah. So I thought that was cool. And then the pole dance being the mount finisher was interesting. Yeah, so that's what I was looking at with the Kinsects. I thought that was cool.
Yeah,
I'm pretty hyped. And then like the backwards vault, like when you do the forward vault, it's more of a slower, more vertical jump. Where in like Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, we had the aerial style where you do like a more sort of like a more forward trajectory,
an arc,
and more direct,
so to speak. Yeah,
like not so much high, but more just like fast and distant. That's what the back vault is now. So there were several gameplays I saw where they would do the forward hop and it's like up in the air doing attacks, getting mounts, but then if you needed to quick adjust and do a backwards hop, you would be like like a bullet straight back at the monster, which I thought was an awesome change.
Interesting. So were people doing it like the Korean back hop? They would turn, because you're saying it's a backwards dodge, so they would turn their back towards the monster and then whee.
No, yeah, so like if you're doing like a jumping vault and you do an attack or finishing it up with the combos, a lot of times the monster will then end up behind you. You can then just do a backwards vault and go straight back at the monster and hit it.
Nice.
And mount it and do all sorts of good stuff. So I'm excited for the Insect Glaive. I want to play with it really bad.
I am super excited for the Gunlance. It just feels so good. It is absolutely insane. The new combos that you do, which is like the multi worm blast combo, whatever it's called. Yeah, it's worm stake full blast.
About this.
Worm stake full blast. It's so good. And then you can follow it up with double Wyvern Fire. Oh, and another thing. You know how the Wyvern Fires charge now?
Yeah.
Shelling. No, I mean.
Oh, shelling will charge it up.
Will charge it back up. You
Nice.
get more. We get Wyvern Fire faster the more you shell. And also another interesting thing was charge shells, unload the whole cartridge of shells. So like if you charge it all the way, you'll just fire all the shells like a full burst. If you want to do that,
cool.
Which is really, really cool as well. So that's one of the easier
Finally,
ways.
Gunlance getting the rework it needed.
Yeah, dude. More shelling, more explosions. That's the identity of
That's
the
what I'm
weapon.
saying. It's the identity. Yeah, I
get
so
this
far,
Laplance nonsense out of here, dude.
That's the other big change on the light bowgun. They're changing it so that it used to be. I mean, it's pretty busted, right? But
yeah,
it used to be strong at medium distance, which kept you safe, and you could just punish a monster. They said that they've changed it so that its optimal distance is going to be closer to the monster than it was previously, which I think is a really smart move.
Yeah,
because it puts them in a more dangerous spot because they're more agile, right?
Yeah, if you want
and the heavy bowgun,
longer, you want heavy bowgun, right?
And they're pushing it back, so now your optimal distance for heavy bowgun is further than it's ever been. So it's more identity stuff going on there.
The other thing about the Gunlance is that quick reload has a guard point. And pretty much almost all different kinds of reloads except for the main slow reload. They all have guard points. So even in the middle of like your big combo that I was talking about with the multi wormstake blast, or what is it called?
Yeah, yeah.
Wormstake full blast. Even with that, there's
Some
like a bunch
protections.
of guard points in there, and they can even act as a parry because you also have the parry with the gun lance
Yeah, you
as
can
well.
become.
It is insane. It's really good.
So one of the changes I noticed that I'm really excited about it, and I want to know a lot more about it. Most people won't care, which is that they're changing the way damage is calculated. They have an
That I didn't
ability in
know.
the options to turn on decimals.
Yeah, I think that's just decimal
Decimals were
damage.
always thrown away. We never used them before.
Really?
Yes, this is why elemental damage or smaller weapons or just little file explosions, it didn't make a difference because you're throwing away decimals. There was never the ability to do more smaller, minute differences because stuff would just get lost in the rounding of it. It didn't even round it. It just threw away the decimals in most cases. The fact that you can show decimals means that they're changing the fundamentals of how they're calculating damage. That makes a huge difference.
Interesting.
You can have it on, or you can just have the whole values shown, which I'm sure it rounds up and shows you. But if you really want to see your damage, it's not your raw, it's not bloated value. They're talking about literally damage with decimal points, which they've never used to use. So
Yeah, I saw people turn that on. Like Paradise turned that on in his
it seems
stream.
like it's 1 point of precision. I don't see double points. It seems to
Yeah,
be
it's
one.
just one.
Like 12.2 or 12.9, not like 9.2 or 12.93 or something like that. So 1 decimal point of precision. When you're dealing with stuff, even I can imagine for shelling, right? When you're dealing with stuff that does like 15 to 17 damage, there's cases in which there should be a difference, but just because decimals were being thrown away, they just end up being the same. So I'm excited about this change.
I mean, I don't
wanna
care
learn
that
more
much
about it.
I don't care that much about numbers, to be honest. It's like, is the number big enough? That's fine. Actually, I would
Yeah.
almost prefer to go back to not even having numbers. But I'm a weird one
You
like
can do
that.
that. You can turn them off.
Yeah, I know, but it's like if it's there, I might as well have it. One thing that I hope they
I have
never
some
do
random
is
notes.
health bars. If they put health bars on the monster, that'll be very frustrating. I hope they never
Oh
do that.
no, I wouldn't do that. No,
Yeah.
I don't
Go
think
ahead.
they will. I just put some random notes on some options I was seeing. A lot of it is stuff that you would expect, like the ability to show decimals on damage, turning off the hit effects from other players, the critical hit effects from other players, blood on and off, close because there was no blood being shown in the
Yeah.
Gamescom one, but they do have an option to turn it on. Closed caption subtitles, which I thought was interesting. Not just cutscenes, but also other things as well. Appearances of gauge. I imagine this is, like when you're running, like stamina doesn't matter, so it like shrinks down to like this micro icon
Mm-hmm.
and then expands. I think that's what it's talking about. The ability to hide other players' secrets. To see the damage numbers from your support NPCs or other players, you can turn it off so you're not bombarded with too many numbers.
Is
You
it
can even
on by
tell.
default?
I have no idea what the defaults are. For your support NPCs, you can even have them whether they can use their slingers or not, because that can disrupt the flow of your combat. You can turn off their mounts on and off, whether or not they do clashes, offset attacks, or counters. Use traps. And one thing I thought it was interesting, and I want to see if anybody has any video of this, but up until now, the camera zoom in, zoom out, you've always been able to, I think, pull it out about 3 different levels, right? Like this, like
Yeah.
boom, 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 boom. If I saw it right, there was 10 levels of precision on how far you can zoom in and out the camera by
mean,
default.
We all know that everybody's just gonna go for the furthest away, so
Hells yeah. Well, I want to see how far away that is.
I hope it's
they
not
even had the
too much.
ability-
Like, let me tell you right now, I hope it's not too much because as somebody that used to raid in World of Warcraft, seeing my character basically being one tiny pixel on the screen was fucking miserable. I never want to go back to that again, please. So I hope it's not too much. Yeah.
Well, it's a choice. So, and then interesting enough, they had a thing saying HDR on and off. That if you are in areas that support HDR or have HDR effects, you can have them on or off. I don't know what that is. That seems really unusual for a
It
graphic
just seems
setting,
like
but
it just seems like HDR on or off. That's
yeah,
pretty
but
much
it's
what it
like
sounds like.
it said for areas or parts of the game in which support HDR. I'm like, what?
It's strange. It
So
should just be
that's
HDR
really
on or off.
strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was kind of like, okay, I don't know what that is, but I took a note of it.
Might be like special cutscenes or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, that's all the notes I had from my limited. There's just so much content out there. Oh
There
my god, and
is. It's
gameplay, like I
insane.
don't know where to start. I'm not gonna do a video trying to digest all of it because like how could you? By the time I'd finish, they'd probably have a public demo out by that point, and everything will be adjusted anyways.
Yeah. It's I actually wasn't able to hear what you just said because like lag is so bad. I just lost all of your audio for a couple of seconds.
I was just saying, like, I don't know how I would digest all
It's
this content anyways.
it's
would take so long.
incredibly overwhelming. Like you have to really just start attacking it in small chunks or just have a massive podcast like this because I just have like all of these segregated ideas in my head coming
Yeah,
off
yeah.
from all different spots. But yeah, it's pretty
So
crazy.
going into Gamescom, I gotta ask, what on a scale of 1 to 100, what was your expectation and what was your takeaway from the gameplay of the game?
I hate rating things.
I
don't-
know.
I
well, then
hate
just
doing-
okay. Just tell me.
Let's put it
How
like
do you
this.
feel going in? How do you feel
I
going
was somebody asked me about the rating that I would give the game, and my rating is right. So before we go in there, all I know is
I just
that,
wanna know if
it's a
you-
Monster
if-
Hunter
if you-
game.
Your
Wait, it's a
expectations.
it's a Monster Hunter game, right? That's all I know. I'm going in there
a
and I'm
10
like,
out of
I think
10.
it'll be cool. I'm very curious to see if the gun lance is going to work good and all of that stuff. But after I actually played it, my official rating is I could easily play this demo for 100 hours without getting bored out of 10.
Yeah,
Okay?
I like that. Like,
So,
were you
yeah.
more impressed by this than you were when you got to play Monster Hunter World for the first time?
no. Because
World was
Monster
such a
Hunter
departure,
World
right?
is just such a
That was such a jump.
massive difference from what we had. I do think that this is still a pretty huge evolution, but like a lot of the things we already got in World, which was more flowing move sets that are, it's kind of like a little bit easier to combo into. This also nudges that even a little bit further. It still requires you to be very wary of your positioning. A lot of people are concerned over the fact that focus mode just lets you spin all around. Like you can do 180 true charge slashes, as Dear Gamer actually
Yeah,
showed.
but I don't know why you would want to hold
I lost
yourself
your
in
audio
that stance.
again. I'm not sure. Hello?
Yeah, I don't know why you
Gaijin?
would want to hold your. Hello? Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah, I don't know why you would want to hold yourself in focus for a long period of time since your move, unless you're a lance, like that could be fun. But your movement will be limited, right?
Yeah, a little bit limited, but it's really good to use focus mode. Like I said, you just 180 a true charge slash, and that works. You just be in the middle of it, and you're just like, oh no, I'm facing this direction. Haha, no, I'm not. You just turn around. It's still going to take a while to get used to, though. Like, at least for me, a lot of times I would still be attacking in the wrong direction because, I'm just like in the middle of a combo and you forget, but there's focus mode. I can turn around and keep going now.
L2
so
is your friend, yeah.
Yeah, L2 is going to be your friend. But yeah, I thought it was absolutely awesome. I could have played it way longer, but yeah.
Yeah, I imagine if they do a public demo, like after they do the Tokyo Game Show and maybe Paris Games Week, man, we're gonna burn ourselves out just playing the living
100%.
crap out of
Just
it.
like
be so
we
good.
burned on Rise. We did the same thing for Rise,
Mhm.
pretty much. Play that thing for over 100 hours.
Yeah, I'm hoping / expecting them to reveal the flagship monster at Tokyo Game Show, like when they do a trailer for.
Again,
I
think it's weird to reveal too many new things. I think Tokyo Game Show would be good for like new monster, new biome, but not the flagship.
Really? Because they almost
Yeah.
always like reveal the flagship quite early, and they haven't yet. And
Yeah,
I'll
I
be
don't know.
honest, I'm really happy that it's not Ray Dow or whatever his name is. I think he's a cool monster and all, but he's no Elder Dragon,
Is sounds is one of the most impressive things. If you actually pay attention to his sounds, He's got like this these metallic sounds that come out of him is actually pretty crazy.
I want to
was
see like
noticing
the
that when I
strategies
was-
of like when the weather moves throughout that area, it doesn't cover it's not just like 1 or 0, it doesn't cover the whole area. So like when the storm's happening, it moves through the area. You could potentially lead him backwards out of the storm and fight him in the storm
No,
state,
because
but
I
in
think
an area.
I think it covers the whole area. It's very fast. From what I've seen, it's very fast. Like you're in thing, and then suddenly it's like you do see it coming and like traversing, but I think it covers the whole place.
I don't think so, yeah, because I've seen a lot of videos where they were able to chase it to another end of the field in which there was still raining thunder in one area but not another. But that would be interesting to see.
know.
This build wasn't exactly meant to be facing it. So.
Yeah, it's been pretty wild, as you would say.
Yes. I'm looking forward to all your coverage and just your thoughts and everything as you
I got
digest
so
everything
much
you just
cooking.
went through. Oh my god, I can't wait, man.
I got so much cooking, but it was good to finally get to do another Third Fleet podcast. We did it, guys.
Yes.
We got him.
I'm
But
so
anyway-
sorry I have been so unavailable. It's the summer heat of
It's-
Japan. It's killing
Yeah,
me.
the summer heat is insane over there. But anyways, guys, that is going to be it for this episode of the Third Fleet podcast. Gaijin has to go make dinner for Yuna right now. So
Yep.
thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, do hit that like button, subscribe bell, notification icon, all that jazz. There'll be links to Gaijin's channel, where Gaijin will hopefully take some of my gameplay and make a video as well at some point.
Yes, that's the idea.
And we'll see you guys in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out.
Happy
Oh damn, I'm so useless. See, we haven't done a podcast in so long. We're doing it again. Stay strong, stay safe.
and happy freaking hunting.
Yeah.